There's news to talk. Things happened in the baseball world for once. Um, a lot of it involves the Blue Jays, so it ultimately doesn't matter. But I just informed you it's Tuesday. We're recording a day early. It's still going to release on Thursday for reasons the general public doesn't need to know about. But I just broke news to Kev here that the Orioles sold. He did not see this. I don't even know if it's like officially official. I've seen more and more accredited people talk about it, so it seems like it's a done deal. Two private equity investors, billionaires, put what did you say, 1.74
I believe that's what it was. Hold on.
billion up for a
Yes,
percentage of
1.75. Yep.
1.75 billion up for a percentage of the Baltimore Orioles that eventually becomes 100%. I think after Peter Angelos, I believe, the name of the man who technically owns them. His son is the moron who was like, "We're never paying anybody here" last year. But one of the private equity guys is immediately the decision maker, even only having 44%. And I really hope, really hope that he treats this like most people with this private equity money treat investments, and they just gut it and, and use it to just churn profits for as cheaply as possible. If they're coming in here with these grand ideas like, oh, we're going to win baseball games and championships, they can fuck off. They can get right the fuck out.
Nobody needs that. Nobody needs that, bro. I need y'all to just treat the Orioles like y'all ATM, bro. Like that's all I need. I don't need these ideas like, wow, if we win more games, we might make more money. I don't need these. I don't
There's
need
no
these big
proof
ideas.
that works. There's no
Yeah, there's
proof.
no proof that you make profits if you actually win games and then play more games in the playoffs. There's no proof of this. I think they should stay the course with what they're doing. Pay nobody.
No, nobody. Absolutely.
What did it do for the Padres? Huh?
Right.
What did it do for the
Yeah.
Mets this year? Huh?
The Yankees.
That's like, well, 8. Well, all right. All right. There was no need to do that. All right.
We're just talking about payrolls and teams that
Listen.
haven't won anything anytime recently. That's all we're talking about here.
2009 is recent. Let's not do this.
Those people, two people in 2005 they're born in 2009 are getting like their learner's permits this year. I don't want to hear that was recent.
That is recent though. It's not yesterday, but it's recent, and we didn't have to do that. Although, like, the theme of the show is about two teams, so we kind of did. But that's not the point here. That's not the point here. You just didn't have to do it. You could have let me do it. Like, I dunked on the Yankees enough. I know that, but you don't know that. You don't know that I wasn't gonna do it.
I had a strong.
You didn't give me any time. I said the Padres, the Mets, and the Yankees. Like, relax.
I mean, listen, you just learned about this story. I don't know. You've been jacking off all day. Who knows what you've been doing over there?
Hey, man. But, hey, mind your business.
But I don't. It wasn't news I needed. Like the Ken Rosenthal earlier today, AJ Przinsky asked him outright on foul territory. He was like, "What?"
I know where this is going. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. It was like, are the Red Sox even trying? And AJ was going to ask more to the question, and Rosenthal was like, "Fuck no, no, they're not." I was like, "Sick. That's awesome. Love to hear it."
I saw one of the pictures with the words, and you just have the captions like, "Or the Red Sox try." Rosenthal, no, that tickled me for a good 10 minutes. Like, are the Red Sox trying? No, I didn't even watch the clip. I don't feel like I need to because it's one word. But are the Red Sox trying? No, that's amazing.
The rest of the clip just goes into how preposterous it is that they aren't trying. He's like, Jordan Montgomery is basically like an 80s rom-com, standing outside of Fenway Park every day with a boombox playing like please sign, like my wife works right there. I can see where she works. It's right down the street from here at one of these hospitals. Please, for the love of God, like I don't give a fuck that you guys aren't trying to win. It concerns me none. I'm gonna go out there every 5 days.
I got a ring, bro. Just give me my money and I could be close to
And
my wife, bro. I don't need it.
I like the fact that he's clearly asking, I think, more about years than money. I guarantee you other teams are offering him more money because the Red Sox just don't get it. He's like, I just know, like, my wife's in residency. She wants to be a doctor. This is one of the best cities in the world to do doctor shit. I would like to live here. I don't want to live on the other fucking side of the country while she's here. I don't think you could just up and leave residencies. I think that's a pretty long commitment. Like, I think she's here regardless of whatever he does with his little baseball job. He wants to be near her. The Red Sox are like, can't do it. They just can't do it.
He ain't got it, bro. We not good for it over here, dog. We don't got it. We got 3 years for $60 million for you. Like, I want 6 for $150. We got 3 years for 60 for you.
Is that 25 a year? Because I'm sure that's what he would take.
What, 6 for 125? I mean, 6 for 150. Excuse me. Yeah, that's 25.
Yeah, I'm sure that's all it would take, and that's right now. There's something like 37 under the CBT for the first threshold. Like, what are we doing? If that's all they want to do and then not add anything else, I think they're in decent shape. Like, genuinely, I don't think they're in the worst shape in the world. I'm not penciling them in the World Series either, but like, I think they can sneak into the playoffs. They can compete for,
it could compete for.
Yeah. Sure. They're not interested at all. They just committed like $3 billion to join the Live PGA merger. I have no idea what the fuck that means. I thought Live and the PGA merged like last year. I thought that was old news, and then it's still like guys signing with Live. It's like, for what? It's all one thing. What does that mean? I don't care. It's not my business. I talk about baseball. I don't give a shit about what's going on with the Saudi Golf League. It concerns me none. I know they don't have any good pitchers coming out of there, so I don't give a fuck about what's going on over there.
You don't care about Big John's pockets
at all. Like, no one buys more like Red Sox merch than me. I know that makes its way back to his pockets. I would like to give more of it to him, and he's just like, nope.
No, big dog. No, big dog. No.
Get those Roman Anthony.
You better get those Lucas Giolito shirts while you can.
I'm at this point, I don't even understand really why they signed him. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
It never really did, because I mean, like, all right, he's gonna give you innings,
right?
Understood. If the plan here is Lucas Giolito, and I guess Vaughn Grissom is your biggest move, I guess, if you want to go that route. If the plan here was, we're going to trade for Vaughn Grissom, sign Lucas Giolito, and sign, or excuse me, they trade for Tyler O'Neill. That's the whole plan. Then you should have just not signed Giolito. Like, what? Am I missing something here? Especially because they are the ones telling us that they're broke.
Right, loudly.
You are the one telling us loud and proud that we don't have it. So paying $20 million for Lucas Giolito on a team that none of us expect to do anything is kind of goofy. Now, the only slight life jacket I will throw them is maybe it's the same thing as the Aroldis Chapman business, where you're signing him solely to trade him at the deadline. If that's the case, now I might be giving them too much credit for having a plan. Fair, fine. But if that's a plan, that at least makes some sense. If you just sign him just to fucking sign him, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't buy that, because it's not a straight 1 year deal. It's a 1 or 3 year deal. It's not even necessarily a 2 year deal.
What do you mean, 3? He has 2 options?
It's a 1 year deal. He probably opts in really only if he stinks. I mean, I know his agent will go out and be like, oh, what's the market? Is 20 good? Or we're going to beat that. And then if he pitches X amount of innings, the 3rd year vests. So it's a 3 year deal, most likely.
Okay, copy. Yeah,
unless he's unbelievable. If he's like another top 5 Cy Young, of course he's going to opt out, and then you're not going to pay him. So that's where it keeps going back to, like,
right. So I guess then you trade him, if that's the case. Like if he's awesome, then you trade him.
Sure.
Yeah, if he's
Sure.
awesome, you
Then
trade him. But
he
like if he's
definitely
bad,
becomes a
then
1
well,
year deal.
exactly. If he's bad, then well, you stuck, and like nobody's taking him. So
Right. It makes no if they're talking about cutting payroll after signing him, wouldn't the logical solution to have been not sign him at all? And I get you need pitchers, but they don't seem that caught up on the fact that they need pitchers. There's one begging you to sign him,
begging,
and you're
bro.
like, we're all set.
We're all set. And like I can't imagine that the price is that prohibitive because I don't. First of all, like this is based on nothing. It's based on the bare minimum that I've read and I've heard behind the scenes. I think he would take less to be there. So it's
Yeah.
not like he's not holding the Red Sox over the barrel. Like it's not Blake Snell. Blake Snell not giving nobody no discount. Like I think that's clear. I don't think he's giving nobody no discount.
No,
And quite frankly, I think the biggest thing for Blake Snell right now is please somebody get into the Angels' neighborhood of money because I don't want to play there. I think that's the biggest thing there, but that's me guessing. So like he's willing to give you a discount. He's clearly good. He fills a need that you told us you have. It's not we didn't guess. We didn't pull the shit out of thin air. You told us full throttle, and we need pitchers. Is that not that's what they said, right? Okay. And he's basically like, yo, I'm a good fit for y'all. I want to play here. My wife is here. She can't just up and fucking leave for my little baseball business. So can you just sign me? It's not like I don't feel a need. This is not like I play third base. And it's like, all right, well, yeah, we have one of those. We're straight. No, like you need more. You need more pitching. Everybody does. But the Red Sox told us out loud they do. They traded Chris Sale. Essentially, they swapped Chris Sale for Giolito. That's what happened, more or less.
A second baseman, but yes.
Right. I mean, just in the staff. Like they swapped one for one, so they still need fucking arms. Like that's clear. And they're just like, no, we're good. We're straight.
So these are the free agent pitchers per MLB.com. I know it's not the best place to go for lists like this, but guys still available: Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Clayton Kershaw, who's not going to pitch until like July around then. Brandon Woodruff, who I would love to sign, may not pitch at all this year. It's basically another Paxton type situation when he signed with the Red Sox.
I would sign him. I would sign him in a minute. If I was anybody, really, I'd sign him in a minute to a 1+1 and call it a day. But
yeah, definitely. Like I would be okay with that, but it also doesn't address like opening day. Julio Urias, great. Zach Greinke is 40.
Zach Greinke didn't retire?
I think he did. He's on the list. I don't know if he filed his paperwork officially, but he's on the list. Michael Lorenzen, I assume you probably could have got him cheaper than Giolito, considering he's still available. They do what 3-year WAR averages on this? I'm pretty sure they do the last, or maybe it's the last 2. Yeah, over the last 2 years, their WAR average, or maybe it's total because Shohei's 18.4. So yeah, their WAR total over the last 2 years. Giolito's 2.8, Lorenzen's a 2.7, and Lorenzen's 3 years older. So more or less the same guy. I understand there's slightly more upside with Giolito, but not really. Rich Hill, 44 years old. He's available. Corey Kluber worked out
Rich Hill will probably work for free. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go home.
But yeah, essentially, yeah. Please, somebody pay me. I'm not trying to go home to them kids, bro. Please, somebody pay me. I don't got the energy for them.
Johnny Cueto, I'm pretty sure he's retired, but he's here. Noah Syndergaard, great. Zach Davies.
The grade is so dismissive. I appreciate it so much.
Jake Odorizzi. I mean, Vince Velasquez, Matthew Boyd, Brad Keller, Hyunjin Ryu, who again would be fine. It's also, it's C37. Like, it's a stopgap. Chase Anderson, Eric Larve, never heard of. No offense. Julio Teheran's here. Madison Bumgarner, who was released in the middle of last season, no one signed. Spencer Turnbull, Dallas Keuchel, Tommy Malone, who I didn't know even still qualified for lists like this. That's it. And Jacob Junis. Jacob Junis is like the hot name in the Red Sox streets, which is
Excuse
embarrassing. No
me?
offense to Jacob Junis, but it's like
He's the what?
well, his career was resurrected with the Giants. This is the Andrew Bailey connection. He's a swingman. We
Okay,
have
at least
3 of
that
those.
that makes sense. But hearing Jacob Junis and the hot name in the same sentence threw me for a loop, buddy.
Just because it's like, well, we know we're not going to get Montgomery or Snell, so we're not even going to look at like the middle class, because honestly, the middle class fucking stinks. So yeah, why not get a guy at least Andrew Bailey has met before?
Damn, y'all are down this bad?
For no reason.
I mean, they promised full throttle.
Yeah, Jacob Junis.
Full throttle.
I don't even know. They were in on
how much throttle? How much throttle is this?
oh man. It's like if you were teaching one of those 15-year-olds who were born in 09, if you're teaching them how to drive, but you don't teach them at all, and you put them in a car with stick shift. So like they don't even know how to get, they don't know you have to like drop the emergency brake. I also don't know how to drive stick shift. So let's see if I can even talk about it. They don't know how to like the emergency brake. They don't know how to take that off. They don't know anything about the clutch. They don't know anything about gear shifting. Like they don't know any of that. So that's the amount of throttle the Red Sox have had.
I knew I could rely on you for a funny answer. Good job. Well done.
Well, it's like the things Breslow's been able to control are the trades where he's shed payroll with all of them. Those he doesn't need like a green light from. Even Giolito's not like a long-term 9-figure deal, so I'm sure that gets greenlit pretty easy. Anything else more than that, I don't like there's nothing he can do about it. Ownership's just like, nah, we're all set.
We don't got a champ. Like, what about if we sign who? Yeah. A good player? No, we can't do that. No.
I feel like he's just been working phones, calling like the same 3 fucking teams, and just constantly being told to kick rocks. Like I don't know what else he knows he can't sign someone. I saw Fox on MLB earlier posted 9 realistic trades, which is always
some bullshit. Well, yeah.
Well, this one was somewhat realistic for a lot. I mean, one of them was like Mike Tauchman for another bench guy. It was just like, all right, I don't know why anyone.
Why publish this? Why publish?
Yeah, well, you had 8 trades. You didn't need to push it.
You did not need to put Mike Tauchman in a fake trade. Nobody's reading that shit. Like, man, I love if my team got Mike Tauchman. Like, what?
Yeah, I was very confused. I was like, all right, but the first one again. This is what they all lead off with was Luzardo to the Red Sox for Cedar Rafaela, Tanner Houck, and 2 top 15 prospects. They didn't even put the legwork in to name 2. If that were an option, it would have happened, I don't know, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Like that obviously would have happened by now. I'm not saying Luzardo to the Red Sox could never happen or will never happen. I'm saying if that were the price tag, Brezzo would have been like sick.
That would have happened months ago. Like there's no awesome reason to sit here and haggle if that's the price. Because I mean, no disrespect to Rafaela, but he's expendable. And if leading the package, he damn sure is expendable at that point. No disrespect again, but yeah, if that was the case, like, and just not even like they said somebody, one of your top guys specifically. They just said 2 top 15 guys. It could be your 10th and your 12th guy based on that. And if that's the case, and it's not done, then Brezzo should be fired. I don't know. He should be fired. Seriously, if that's the case, though, that's on the table. Knowing what we know about what they seem to prioritize, which they tell you anyway, they prioritize pitching, right? And they want cost controlled. That seems to be a big thing for them.
Well, it's also strike throwing pitching. It's not just pitching. It's pitchers who hammer the zone. And I don't know enough about Luzardo. I think he's more of a paint guy than a zone hammerer.
Yeah, Luzardo's nobody's control artist. He's not. Sure. He's not. I don't think it's a problem either. It's just he's one of the million people in the middle space where it's just like, yeah, okay, depends on the day, more or less.
Sure.
Right. And he's cost controlled. So it's like, you could get that kind of guy with that kind of upside for that package, and you say no, you might not be cut off for the job. But unless I am missing something with Luzardo, which, sure, it's possible. It's possible I'm missing something, but he checks all the boxes.
The reason I bring up the strike throwing is I wouldn't like if you're Breslow right now, you have these beliefs that got you hired by the Cubs, and that rolled into this job that you have now. If you have these beliefs about pitching, and this guy doesn't fit into that box of beliefs, I'm not saying he's Breslow's right or anything like that, but if this is what he got here with, now's not the time to start pivoting either. If you don't believe this guy and his stuff and how it fits, and you're trying to have this reorganization top down with pitching being your bag, and you and Bailey are aligned with that, I don't think you should use your bosses being cheap fucks as a reason to go outside of what you actually believe in. Because much like Heim, you're probably not here for the long haul, regardless of what you do.
That's exactly why you should do the damn trade. Like,
I'm saying stick to your guns the way you got here, because that's that conviction to what you believe is what's going to get you hired elsewhere.
Fair.
Have things you can explain in a future job, and if like fucking Art Moreno's character in Moneyball, when he's like, I'm a lame duck manager, I've got 1 year left on my deal, I'm not going to play Scott fucking Hatterberg at first base when I'm not going to be here next year, and I have to explain to someone else why I did that silly shit. Now, it worked in the movie. They probably got bounced in the first round. I think that part's important to remember.
Yes.
So if I'm Breslow, and it's like, this is right now the best trade on the table, but I don't think this guy is as good as his numbers have been the last 2 years. I think we're losing this trade. Don't make it. I understand we're starved for a move. We're starved for a player we know is good or has been good.
Right.
If you don't believe in that shit, don't do it just because your idiot bosses won't pay Jordan Montgomery, which is obviously the easier thing to do and probably the better move overall.
Yeah, because you don't have to. It's just money. Like, just give the money. Give the money, sign the checks, be done with it. You don't have to give a prospect. You have to haggle, negotiate. You don't have to do none of that shit. There's good pitching available for simply money. And I assume Blake Snell's going to end up being considerably more expensive. They're in the same age group. One has 2 Cy Youngs, the other does not. Okay, I understand that. So if you're going to get this guy for what should be a reasonable price, just sign him. Now, the Luzardo thing, at least, I think most people can agree is good. Like, obviously, guys like Breslow, like, you have your types and you have your guys, and I get that, and you have what you like. Trading that package for a guy that talented is understandable regardless of what you believe or you don't. Like, you could explain that easily to anybody. Like, look at what we gave up and look what he did the past 2 years. It's easy to explain. Now, I do understand being true to yourself, though, 100%. And that's how he got the job. And guys typically don't deviate that much, especially when you're talking about that might be the first big move you make. And then if it blows up in your face, which is always a possibility, it's a pitcher. If it blows up in your face, then it looks worse because it's your first move. Fair or not, that's just how the game goes. Hence why it was insane that they set up Homeboy to trade Mookie Betts as his first fucking move. But another topic. But yes.
Yeah. It's year one of trying to install this shit. Like, he's still, pitchers and catchers haven't even reported. He hasn't even got to do it yet.
Right.
So if you're like, hey, this is how we do it, except for this guy I just traded for, he's my gold star, he's my golden pupil, then yeah, I can understand why other guys might not exactly fall in line. And that also corrodes shit from the inside. Like, it's always more than just like, oh, there's a player, let's go trade for him. Now, I have no idea, like, the big part of all that is I have no idea if that's how Breslow believes Luzardo is and is not. If he thinks it can fit and that package is on the table, yeah, pull that fucking trigger. It's an unknown. It's not something I can speak to. All I can speak to is like, yeah, that's a good pitcher. We really don't have many of those, so I would like him. And that's how most fans feel. But I agree. By far and away, the easiest thing to do would just be give Jordan Montgomery, I don't know, what's that, like 50th of what the organizations could be sold for tomorrow. That feels fair.
Somewhere in that range, yes.
Yeah.
Not gonna do the math, not gonna haggle over it. Like you got it.
Sure,
Yeah.
it's around, I don't know,
It's
125th, something like
yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
some gross number. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to cripple you anytime soon. And you don't have to pay it all tomorrow either. It's spread out over the next 6 years. Like, you're fine. You'll survive.
And you can
It's
structure the damn contract how you want with regards to payments. Like, the AAV is going to say what it says, obviously, but if you want to pay him $40 million this year, sure. You want to pay him $40 million later, sure. You can structure how the fuck you want to based on your
right.
expenses. And he's a good pitcher who helps your team. So,
Yeah, it's all absurd, but not as absurd to me as grown men literally like crying in the streets over the video game cover. Like I've never felt older than watching people have meltdowns over who the cover athlete is for MLB The Show.
listen, I guess as somebody who cared enough to laugh at it, I can't be the one to dunk on them. Now, a lot of space between I laughed and got one tweet off about it. A lot of space between that and like some of the shit that I saw, which is like a series of tweets about this. I'm just like, I know I made a tweet, so I'm not exempt, but like, what are we doing? Like, I can't believe whatever happened to this great game in its cover. Are you out of your fucking mind? Like Jazz Chisholm was on it last year. No, I love Jazz. No disrespect. Look at the back of his player card. If we're gonna go that route, we're just talking about like the performance doesn't befit that of a fucking cover guy. The MLB The Show told you what kind of time they were on last year. The thing for me, what made it funny is that Vlad is not exactly interesting. There's not a lot
To
of
you,
interesting things about Vlad.
to
To
you,
to me, yeah, and to most, who has ever been like, you know what, man, I love Vlad. I gotta go get me a Vlad jersey. I gotta go watch Vlad. He's not that guy,
I.
and that's
This
not
is such a Yankee
disrespect.
fan take.
It's
No, this
not.
is a Yankee fan take.
Is it? I don't
Yes,
think it's a Yankee fan take because now, to be fair, like I'm comparing him to the Acuñas of the world, the Ellie De La Cruzes of the world, the O'Neill Cruzes of the world. I'm not saying I'm not comparing them as players. You know what I mean? Like just interest level. Like that's fun to me. Vlad is a big husky dude who hits the ball at the park every now and again. Am I wrong when I say this?
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I think a little, yeah. I know he's on this list, otherwise it wouldn't come up. Vlad Guerrero Jr. had the 15th highest selling jersey in baseball last year.
Oh, so
Uh,
there were 14 dudes that people prefer. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate
that,
it.
but you just said no. Like, there's
Thank you.
30 teams, there's 30 franchises. You
And you
said no
found the
one
15th
cares.
highest jersey.
Hold on. Well, first
Like,
of all, one of
yep.
these guys has already been on the cover, so I think two of them have been.
Okay.
Alex Bregman was 9th. Would that have been a better cover option? Jose Altuve was 6th. Is that a better option? Fernando Tatis is on here.
Oh,
He's already been.
Altuve 1000% a better cover option. Are you insane?
Are you kidding me? Half the league
Yes.
hates that team.
That's interesting.
But it's
Fair
not.
enough. That's
They're listen.
interesting.
They're. What are you? I guess what are you arguing? Because it's a video game. They're trying to sell the game. You get that part, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Most people are not buying it if the Astros on it. I promise you, they won't.
Fair. I'll grant you that. I think the people are going to buy. Excuse me. I think the people are going to buy it anyway. Because if
So
all
that's
people,
the other part. Most people don't.
most people are going to buy like that. That's why the actual like real life outrage instead of just laughing is hilarious to me because you're going to buy the fucking game anyway. So I don't. That stuff is funny. But as far as the cover guy, it's like Vlad is. I guess he's interesting to some. Like, he's the 15th highest selling jersey in the league. Good for them. Good for him. I guess. I don't see what's so
That's
interesting
crazy
about the
high. That's insanely
I
high.
guess like Alex Bregman's knife. I think that dude's boring too. So,
Well, I mean, Astros fans are buying their own jerseys. They're one of the premier franchises.
but you don't get to ninth just on Astros fans though.
Houston's what, one of the 5 largest cities in the country?
Sure, but you still don't get there just on like there's people. I mean, granted, yes, there's probably Astros fans all over the place at this point. We know how that works.
Three
But,
is
yeah.
Judge. You're not buying a Judge jersey unless you're a Yankees fan, because if you're not a Yankees fan, you hate the Yankees.
I mean, there are a lot of casual Yankee fans, but I guess
But they're still Yankee fans. There's no one who's like, I'm a fan of this team. I have an Aaron Judge. Like, I'm a Rangers fan. I have an Aaron Judge jersey.
I
That
mean, there's
person
a
doesn't
lot
exist.
of kids who probably don't give a fuck about the Yankees who got Aaron Judge jerseys.
But I would say they don't have a team then. Like, there's no
That's
way.
fair. No, that's fair. But they don't have a choice in the matter either. Their parents are doing that shit.
But I would call them Yankee. Like, that's a Yankee fan. I don't care
Okay,
what
all right, fair.
they think.
Okay,
like,
fair.
that's a Yankee fan.
I don't care
for
what
sure.
Fair.
Shohei's won, obviously. He's been on the cover like 3 years ago. He was the cover 2 or 3 years ago.
Whatever
matter.
It was, yeah.
Acuna's too. I have no arguments against Ronald Acuna. Ronald Acuna is cool as hell, reigning MVP. Easily could have been the cover. No doubt in my mind.
Yes.
Judge is 3. Boring. Next.
How is Aaron Judge boring? Yankee should decide for a minute. How is Aaron Judge?
No. It can't be. That's part of the problem. Yankee players, are inherently boring. That's just how they are. There is no fun associated with that organization. In fact, it's outlawed by the organization. They constantly employ at least one player who looks like a state trooper to make sure that no fun is to be had. Whether it's Brett Gardner or Brian McCann, they always have one. Like, they always have one. So this idea that Aaron Judge is not boring is insane.
They don't have the state trooper on this roster, to be fair. And
I'll scroll the roster in a minute. Carlos Rodon looks like a state trooper with a mustache, now that you bring it up.
Touche. But, and to be fair, let me make myself clear. I don't think Aaron Judge is interesting. He's not. I also don't see how you could tell me that Aaron Judge is boring and Vlad is interesting. I don't see the difference. Like, Vlad talks more. Good for him. They don't win any games. He doesn't talk a lot. Like,
Aaron Judge does not win anything. It's the same argument.
The Blue Jays have won 0 playoff games in 5 years. There's a difference. Like, yes, obviously they're not winning championships. Really. I understand that. Yes, there is.
They didn't get to play the fucking Twins or the Guardians.
Congrats. They did get to play the Twins. They got smoked.
They did play the Twins this year.
They played the Twins and the Mariners and got smoked by both. As a matter of fact, they blew a 7-run lead to the Mariners.
The Mariners are on the rise.
They
lost to the Twins. Listen, if we're going to
talk about the Twins, the history has to come up because the Twins roster as it is
for
fine.
Sure.
So we're not laughing at the Twins because of their current roster. The Mariners hadn't won a playoff game since I was like 13. Since we're going to bring up history, because that has to be a part of the conversation.
The Twins were much worse.
No, they weren't. At least they won a playoff game in the last 20 fucking years. The
Mariners they hadn't. That was the whole thing. They hadn't won one in 20 years.
Excuse me. 20. They won one more recently than the Mariners did. That's a fact.
But the Mariners just outright, and this is a different argument, they just outright weren't even making the playoffs. I think it was much worse for the Twins.
That's the point.
It's much worse for the Twins.
To you? Yeah. To you.
Making the playoffs every year, essentially, and going 0-3, 0-1.
I don't know, man. We arguing about arguing about who the skinniest fat person is at this point. So there's that. And
it's the AL West versus the AL Central. Like, I think all of it's worse for the Twins.
And I don't even dislike Vlad. So let me make myself clear. This is not.
That's not true.
I don't dislike Vlad. I don't like him. I don't dislike him. He's just there. There's one Blue Jay that I just don't like. I mean, is he even a Blue Jay anymore? I don't know. They demoted his ass.
For the Buffalo Bison.
Like, I don't know where he is anymore. But Alek Manoah is the only one I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy. The rest of them is kind of just like, they don't win enough for me to hate them. They don't do shit. They get to the playoffs. They get smoked by teams who have their best experiences of the last 20 years at their expense. I don't hate them for what? Why?
They are slump busters because the Mariners
they are charitable. How could I hate that?
They outright refuse to make the playoffs. The one time they do, they walk through the Blue Jays. I did forget, and I was just watching Vlad highlights earlier because people were getting so mad. I was like, am I missing something? Sonny Gray picked Vlad off of second. Very funny.
That was interesting. I'll give Vlad that. That was
listen, Vlad, I think people often forget, and you're doing it now, how cool it is just to watch a big guy hit something 500 feet. Like, that's sick.
He doesn't do that enough.
Baseball. He's got over 100 home runs over the last 3 years. Of course he does it enough.
He has not done that enough. He has been Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been a disappointment.
All right.
Am I lying? Am I lying? But I didn't
He had
call
a
them
better
out
offensive season than Judge 3 years ago. Last year,
in a minor league
excuse
park.
me, 2 years ago.
In a minor league park. That's where we're
No,
going.
that was not 2020. That was 21.
Bro, they played most of their games in a minor league park. That was 21. That was his only great fucking
both.
year.
The year after that, he had a
21.
137 OPS plus. That's not a mediocre year.
Coley, what does the word disappointment mean?
What do you mean?
What does it mean? Because I said he's a disappointment,
137 OPS
and you're
plus
rattling off shit to tell me he's good. I know he's good. He ain't great. That's the point.
I disagree with that. I think he had a bad year, and that's what people are harping on. And even still, he had a 117 OPS in his down year.
Here's the thing. What is his name?
That's a huge component of this.
That's the point. If
his not the only thing.
If
people
his
are
name
acting
was
like
Coley
he goes
Mick
out.
Jr., we're not having this conversation, bro.
He would have been on the cover 5 years in a row. I think what most of the problem people have is like, oh, it's not Acuna. It's not any Brave. They should put like the fucking Atlanta Hawks when they all made the player of the month. That's what they wanted for this cover. They wanted Braves ball 2K24. You want to talk about the Blue Jays being a fucking disappointment? Let's talk about the Atlanta Braves for the entire existence of the franchise, even dating back to when they were the Boston Braves. There's no more disappointing franchise in baseball than the fucking Atlanta Braves. We want to give them participation trophies. It's the fucking MLB The Show cover. What are they talking about? The last 2 years in a row, really the last 4 years in a row, what have they done? They picked Shohei, they picked Fernando Tatis, they picked Jazz, and they picked Vlad Guerrero Jr. What do those four teams have in common?
They have done nothing in the postseason.
No one gives a shit about them, ever, at all. They have no enemies. None of those teams. Yankee fans hate the Blue Jays. No one cares what Yankee fans have to say. Other than that, no one gives a fuck about those four franchises.
I love how it's just Yankee fans. That's great. Like, there's four other teams in the division. Just the Yankees, though. We hate it.
No one gives a fuck about... There's not a single Red Sox fan who gives a fuck about the Toronto Blue Jays. That's
a lie. Knock it off.
What are you talking about?
That's a lie. Knock that shit off.
The only team in the division that has any sort of ire towards the Toronto Blue Jays is the Yankees.
That's a lie.
What are you talking about?
That's a lie. There's so many people.
You're just going to keep saying that?
Yes. I'm just saying on loop for the rest of the show. Some people just hate the division rival simply because they're the division rival. It doesn't have to be.
That's not what we're talking about. You guys hate this iteration of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Listen, I take things literally when it benefits me, okay? And I can argue. And that's what we're here to do right now, argue.
Fucking, who was the dickhead on your team last year? Was the other fucking pitcher who sucks now? What's his fucking name? The starter you have that throws like 45 miles an hour and everyone's like, oh, Nestor Cortez. This fucking guy, he's like, the Red Sox aren't even our rival. And then we go out and we smack their dicks in. He's talking about the Blue Jays like being a bigger rival. Of course you guys care more about the Blue Jays than anyone else ever should.
I don't know, man.
They're a neutral team.
I think people in our fans of teams in our division dislike the Blue Jays. All of them. Do Yankee fans dislike them more? Sure.
I don't even know if they have the Orioles and Blue Jays play. I've seen no video proof that those two teams have ever been on the same field.
I mean, there was no reason to care for 7 years. There's no like at least both of them were in the playoffs last year, so there's reason to care by default.
Neither of them won, and they were both the same team. They're literally the same. The more I'm talking about it, the Orioles are just a few years behind the Blue Jays. They're the exact same team.
I mean, at least they got interesting players.
Like, if they put Bo Bichette up there because Dante Bichette was his dad, and that's cool. Like, I'd be like, yeah, that's weird. That's fucking weird that they did that. Vlad Guerrero Jr.
I mean, but they put Vlad on there because of who his fucking father is. That's part of this.
I said that when you brought him up before. Okay. Of course it's part of it. Okay. The thing they share in common is they're both sick as hell. Like Vlad, the original Vlad was unbelievable. All of his kids keep getting signed. I don't think anyone's seen these fucking 16-year-olds play. They're like, oh, that's your dad? Come on down. Here's $1 million just in case you're as good as your dad was. You know who's been pretty fucking close? The only one who's made it to the bigs so far. He's been really fucking
close
good.
By what measure?
For 3 years, he's had what?
Close by what measure?
Well, 30 OPS plus.
First of all, defense matters. First of all,
not
second of all, base running matters.
When you talk about Vlad Guerrero Sr., what's the first thing you're going to talk about? How he used to swing at balls that were rolled to him over the fence.
Sure.
Yeah, and he had a cannon for an arm, no doubt. I love
Sure, and
Vlad
he was a good
Senior.
fielder, and he ran the
Yes,
bases well.
absolutely. His
Like, his
son,
son is not close to him as a baseball player. We don't
just
have to do that.
offensively, he definitely is. Stop it.
Sure, and he's still a disappointment.
That's part of it. I don't
He's a
give a fuck about the
disappointment.
first baseman's bad defense. Like, I do not care at all.
But he came up as a third baseman and moved to first because he can't play defense. Well,
So did
I mean,
Casas. I don't give a
to
fuck.
be fair, to Vlad, like I'm not going to operate in bad faith the whole show. I'll throw him a slight bone. He's actually good at first. Fair. I'll throw him that he's actually good at first.
But I don't even care. He didn't make the cover because he makes some nice picks at first.
I
Like
mean,
that.
he made the cover because of who his daddy is.
No, he didn't. He made the cover because he plays for a neutral team and he slugs dingers. It's that simple.
If his name was Larry Nance Jr., we're not talking about this. He's not on the cover.
I don't think that's
the only
true.
thing that makes him interesting is
Fernando Tatis Sr. was terrible. They didn't have a problem putting Jr. on the cover. Terrible's harsh. He was just not that good.
No, he wasn't that good. I mean, he had 2 grand slams, 1 inning. That's his claim to fame, which I mean, a fire claim to fame.
Unbelievable.
A fire claim to fame. Yeah. No doubt. But he was a fine major league player. His kid is obviously way fucking better. And his kid is obviously, I mean, he's a way better player than Vlad, number one. Vlad Jr.
He's been on the cover already.
He's been on the cover because he's also great at baseball and fun. I mean, people might disagree with that now because of he's had 72 motorcycle accidents and a suspension since. Yeah,
exactly.
So people might not think he's fun anymore. But at that point, they did. And he was also legitimately in the conversation for best player in the league. Vlad's never been in that conversation. So
in 20, what did he finish in MVP in 21? I'm going to look it up.
Second.
But what he had to have been top 3.
Second.
He was second? Yes. So of course he's been in that conversation.
No, he hasn't. Has anybody ever thought Vlad was the best player in baseball at any point? Or
I'm sure plenty of people have argued him the best power hitter. I know that's different, but when Tatis
and that's a lie as well.
Excuse me, when Tatis made his cover, he was the worst defensive shortstop in the league.
And have you seen him hit?
Sure, I would say the same thing after 21
and he's
for
a
Vlad.
Far better hitter than Vlad is. So what are we?
Vlad's 21. I don't care where he was playing. I'd like it. What he did on the field was as good as anything we've seen from any of these people.
First of all, that's a lie. Second of all,
what are you talking about?
How could that not be part of the discussion when you look at his career years and one sticks out and it's the one they played in a minor league park? How could that not be?
Because he also played road games. He didn't play 162 games in a minor league park.
Well, then explain the rest of his career. What changed?
What do you mean? The very next year, he had 818 OPS, so 133 OPS plus. That's an incredible year. All in real
like a career 830 OPS. What are we talking about? That's good. I'm not saying this.
Sure, he has a career 844 OPS. Good for him. It's higher.
Who's is higher? Belt?
If Acuna is 830, it's 14 points behind Guerrero.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a good hitter. Never argued that.
If Acuna is great, he has a worse OPS.
I mean, Acuna's being carried by what, his rookie year and his last year? To be like, and I mean, Acuna also tore his ACL and wasn't shit for 2 years either, if I'm not mistaken. So like, we have some shit to point to around Acuna at least. We do. And we have some shit to point. He tore his fucking ACL and came back and was ass for an entire year. That matters.
Okay.
That matters.
I didn't tell him to do that.
I didn't tell Vlad to have his one standout fucking year in a minor league park either.
The next year, he went 30-100 and had a 133 OPS plus. I think it's insane to just write that off.
Oh, he had Anthony Rizzo numbers. Congrats to him on that.
Stop it. Those aren't Anthony
Congrats to it was for like a solid 10 years, if we're going to go there with it. Listen.
He was for sure not 30-100 for 10 years.
Just keep talking.
For 10 years, Rizzo put up 1,000 RBI
on average.
Home runs.
I don't think it's as ridiculous a premise as you think it is. But
no, I think it's at 25 and 87. Like those Cubs teams, he was not driving in 100
years straight. Rizzo hit like exactly 31 home runs.
Okay, what's the average then?
I'm getting there. All right, so okay, so it wasn't for 10 years. Fine, understood.
Right,
understood. Fine for.
And what? Yeah, hold on. Give me. Let's be. You want to be fair, right? Give me Rizzo's age 22 through 24 seasons. I just want to see something.
Okay, 1 second. I mean, he didn't play much his 22 season, so
no, I'm sure he was recovering.
All right, so Per 162, he was 30 homers, 91 RBI with a 133 OPS plus. That was his 22 to 24.
Okay. So Guerrero's 22 to 24, 35, 101, 139 OPS plus, 869 OPS,
So when
508
I said
slugging.
he was putting up Anthony
So
Rizzo numbers,
much
I was
better.
right. Thank you.
No,
I appreciate
all the numbers you just
Thank
said were
you.
much lower than those. They
He
weren't
had
even close.
He's 6% better, man.
He's better. Yes, correct. He's better. He's
Correct.
not the same at all.
Correct. But they're in the same neighborhood as Anthony Rizzo numbers,
They're
man.
not.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. The numbers bear that point out.
And then
You
Rizzo's
could prefer
numbers
one
went
of
up,
them,
right?
fine.
Rizzo's
Yes.
numbers went up from there? Okay,
Yes.
so the 24-year-old, who's already better than the player you brought up, projects to keep getting better than the player you brought up. Interesting. It's almost like he's always been and always will be better. And that's not a shot. You brought up Anthony Rizzo. That's a Red Sox prospect. I love Anthony
The
Rizzo.
fact that the numbers are comparable like makes my
But
point.
they weren't.
They are.
They were
Just
worse.
because Vlad had better numbers doesn't
They
mean
were
it wasn't
worse, and he
comparable.
also only played 2 seasons. He didn't even play as many seasons. They were still worse. He came up later
I
and
mean,
produced less.
you want to go 23 to 25 instead? We can. I mean, what do you want?
He's
from
not
me?
25 yet, Kevin. I can't look into the future, pal. Maybe he hits 85 home runs next year. We don't know. Listen,
Are
what
they
happened
playing
the
in the
last
minor league
time?
park again?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because what happened the last time the Chiefs and the 49ers played? They fucking played in the minor league park, Kevin. That's what happened. So maybe he will. That was 2020, the Super Bowl.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So
right.
Vlad might be having some big seasons coming up if this happens again.
Fair. I hope for my sake and yours that when he leaves Toronto is when the big seasons that we were promised for 6 years come along. I hope so. Because Homeboy's a good player. I'm not knocking him, but like he's right-handed Brandon Belt. Like, am I supposed to be excited about this?
If he were 28, I'd be like, yeah, that's upsetting. I thought he was going to be a 35 to 45 home run guy, middle of the order bat. He's 24 and he's averaging 30 plus home runs a year already. So this idea that he's not going to get better when he's already been good, and most prospects are just now getting called up at this age, feels absurd to me.
Listen, man, I am not saying that the man can't get better. Never have I said that. Never have I implied that. I'm talking about what the fuck he is now. And today, he's a disappointment.
He's made an all-star all 3 years. He's been a full-time starter.
Motherfuckers expected him to be Juan Soto. He's not.
I don't know that they did. I wouldn't say his father was Juan Soto, so I don't know that that's fair.
He was the number 1 prospect in baseball, and he's a fat third baseman who can't field. Yes, we expected him to be a better hitter than this.
I don't know that that's true. I don't. You can compare prospects to the year. Not every number 1 prospects historically.
When you're called a generational prospect, that this is not what you expect. All due respect, it's just not. He's good. He's really good. Fine. That's not what you expect, especially when your fucking name is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Fair or not, this is not what you expect.
I feel like everyone's being like crazy harsh on someone who has a top 3 MVP finish and is 3-time All-Star the 3 full years he's been a starter. Like, that part's crazy.
Are we being harsh, or are we just saying he ain't great?
I think that's super harsh. Like, I think he's coming off of a bad year. People using that as a time to pile on as if he's never going to play baseball again.
I mean, but the down year wasn't that much different than the year before that.
It was. I mean, his OPS was 30 points lower. His OPS plus was 16 points lower.
He's had 5 full seasons. Oh, sorry, is the first one?
No,
sorry,
it's not.
The COVID year is not a full year. My bad.
Right.
So 772, 791, 1002, 818, 788. There's one. It's a fucking Dragons meme. 4 of them with the eyes closed, and then 1 with the eyes open. The one with the eyes open is the one he played in the minor league park the whole year. That. I'm not making this up. It's right there.
He didn't play there he just didn't play there the whole year. That's just not what happened.
He played in the minor leak park for half the games. That's a massive deal.
Last year,
yes,
his first half. I'm trying to remember, where is it? Okay, so his first half was better. No, it wasn't. What number am I looking at here? That doesn't make any sense. No, for some reason I thought he fell off a cliff one of the halves. He didn't. He just had the same half, both halves, which is remarkably consistent. But that was his down year. Like, I'm not arguing he's coming off of his best year.
His down year looks like the rest of them.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
He was coming off a
one
year, he had an
that stands out.
820 OP. Again, he's coming off a year, he had an 818 OPS, and then it drops below 800. Those are not the same.
He's had 3 years below 800 OPS. 3.
Yeah, his first year, his age 20 rookie season.
Yes.
If you want to add all the context.
Yes.
Age 20 rookie season, he has 772 OPS.
Okay.
That's being used as a negative somehow. The COVID year, he played 60 games. I don't give a shit what happened in those 60 games. For anybody.
That's fair.
For anybody alive.
That's fair.
And then for 2021, when he's 22, half his games. Now I want to check his home road splits for 21.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious. I don't need a box score from this season. He had an 875 OPS on the road in 21. Like, this is not a mediocre hitter by any stretch of the imagination.
Are we going to mention the home part of this? Where he hit 31 fucking home runs in
that's why I brought games? Which was OPS. He played 80. He played more games on the road, and he had an 875 OPS. You're acting like he only hit, like he had a 9,000 OPS at home and 100 at home.
Bro, he had a 200 OPS. Oh, no, sorry, that's the wrong stat.
No, he did not.
He had a
I don't know what that number means.
He had a one. Yeah, me either. He had a 1.133 OPS at home and an 875 on the road.
That's why I didn't bring up his home. I looked up his road. His road is what you're saying.
His single greatest year is fueled a lot by what he did at home in a minor league park.
It's why I'm talking about his road splits that year. If
I know.
His road splits were 680 that year, I'd be like, wow, that's significant. This is not significant.
I said the man's a good hitter. I said he's a good hitter.
When?
He's a good hitter. His whole career. It lays the point out he's a good hitter. You want to call him great? Fine. Be my guest.
For his age, he's great.
He can be great and he could be disappointing at the same time. He's a man of duality. He could be great and he could be disappointing at the same time.
If he were 29, 30, and it's like, all right, we kind of see most of the picture of his career, I can see your point. He's 24 fucking years old. I don't understand how a guy with 100 home runs under the age of 25 is some disappointment.
I don't think you either remember or are properly contextualizing the kind of hype that he got before he came up.
I don't think he has not lived up to it. He's a 3-time All-Star. He's hit 100 home runs over 3 years.
This wasn't what was expected. This is not what people were writing about.
Home runs?
He's supposed to have more than one elite season. I think that's a fair fucking.
How many home runs was he supposed to have by his age 25 season?
I mean, you can't ask that. One of them is his.
What are you talking about? What's the number where it'd be acceptable?
He hasn't played 5 games yet. 5 games. He hasn't played 5 years yet. Excuse me. One of them was rookie year. You kind of tossed that, fine. And one of them was COVID year. You already said we don't care about that, which is perfectly fair.
Correct.
So he's played 3 full seasons if you want to exclude the rookie year.
You can look at the rookie year. It's great for a rookie. It was a great rookie season.
Sure.
And it was younger than the average rookie season.
Like, by age 24, he's had 1 great season. 1.
I disagree. I think 22 was great. For a 23-year-old, that is a great season. And I won't drop that. I think that is if any of us had a 23-year-old on our team that put up that season, we'd be like, that's an unbelievable season.
I firmly disagree.
And if you had a 23-year-old hit 32 home runs with an 818 OPS, you'd be coming yourself.
Relax. Too much
you
detail.
You absolutely would be.
Too much detail for the people. But an 818 OPS from Vladimir Guerrero Sr.'s kid is not moving me.
Now you're using the name against him, which is so stupid. Most kids stink. Most kids of athletes that great, you don't hear about them at all.
Number 1 prospect in baseball. Generational hitter. This is the type of stuff that was bandied around when he was a prospect, and with good reason. Like, his ability says he should be better. He has insane ability. How many home runs
should he have hit by now? What would be an acceptable number?
I don't have an acceptable number for you. He had 1 great season.
Cleared 100.
He had 1. He's had 1 great season. If he had 2 great seasons, we're not having this conversation.
He's not.
He's had 1 great year,
and he's had multiple 30 home run seasons, and he's just some scrub.
No, he's a disappointment. You
I
could be good and you could be a
disagree
disappointment.
completely. He's a cover athlete. He's a 3-time All-Star. These are accolades most people don't have.
Listen, it would be like calling Justin Herbert a disappointment. I don't
I
think that.
completely not if you're factoring in the hype
What hype?
for Herbert. He had the opposite of hype.
Vlad
Everyone
got
was like,
way
"This
more
guy
hype than
stinks."
Herbert. Oh, sorry. Okay.
I know.
Okay, my
Yeah,
fault.
that's why I'm saying it doesn't make any sense. The comparison.
Oh, I mean, fair, fine. I don't know what a better comparison is, but a quarterback who was well hyped and never really got too great, except for one fucking season. Like, I don't know what the comparison is, but it doesn't have to be quarterback. It could be anybody. But
no, I wasn't even thinking about the comparison. I think you're underrating his 22.
That's
like
possible. I don't think I am. Given every
I mean, most people, despite what all the numbers say, he gets voted into the All-Star game every year, and he's got the top 15 highest selling jersey in the league.
I will
Clearly, everyone else thinks he fucking stinks.
I will gladly drop the interesting part. Apparently, people love the guy and think he's great. Okay, I'll drop that.
Listen, it goes a long way. I mean, again, I'm coming at this like, how do you sell a video game? It's largely the same game every year. They don't make these great strides with the physical game itself.
Right.
So what's the interesting part? Who's a guy who plays for a neutral team, not a hated franchise like the Yankees, that's really it. Like the Yankees, like the Astros, like the Astros. I was blanking on, I knew I had a second team teed up. Like the Astros, who just slugs fucking dingers. It goes a long way. There are guys, we can talk about with this basketball. There are guys who are way more popular. Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, because they could fucking dunk and dunk sick. What's the baseball equivalent to that? The home run derby. Vlad goes out there every year. He's been going out there since he was a fucking kid, and he competes. That goes a long way with people. He's cool. Like, I don't know what else to tell people. I know Yankee fans don't see it because they personally hate the Blue Jays. I don't have a problem with that. That's part of sports. That's part of what I love. So I'm not discounting your personal hatred for him. Objectively cool player. Like, objectively cool. He slugs dingers. That's really it. That's all he has to be.
I think Homeboy is a disappointment. And him being on the cover is just more nepotism. We need less of that in society.
If he were 29, I would be right there with you calling him a disappointment. He hasn't played till
I think
25?
one can call him a disappointment currently, and also realize he likely won't stay one. Like,
that feels like a waste of time to me.
It doesn't. Like, he's done what he's done. We just have different interpretations of what he's done, which is cool. It's great. Like we've gotten like 30 minutes out of Vlad. So thank you, MLB The Show. I had no idea this was going to go this way. I appreciate you for the content.
Well, I thought you just hated him because he was a Blue Jay. I didn't know you thought like deep in your core that he sucked as like.
No, it has nothing to do with. It has nothing to do with. I really think the guy is a disappointment.
I can tell. Yeah,
I think he's a disappointment. I think he's a good player. Like you're never going to be mad. You have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on your team, and also. And to the point where you said it was a waste of time, because I don't think he's going to stay a disappointment. I don't. Like, I think because the thing with Vlad is, if somebody could figure out how to get him to stop hitting the fucking ball on the ground so much, it's going to be ugly for everybody. All of his opponents. That's the biggest fucking problem, relatively speaking, because he's still really fucking good. But like he's not what they hyped him up to be yet. Can he get there? Sure, man. Anything is possible. Sure. If you told me by age 24 he had one great season, most people would be like, nah, that's not what I signed up for. The Blue Jays themselves would tell you that's not what the fuck they signed up for. It's not.
I don't think most people historically would judge his age 23 season as a disappointment or a below average. I mean, the numbers.
He ain't most people.
Are all above average.
He ain't most people. And he should not be graded as such. He's not most people.
Regardless, my point is, if anybody had this season, we would call it great. I don't know that we should dumb it down just because of expectations. It was still an objectively great season.
We have different
definitions. For a 23-year-old, most 23-year-olds are still in AAA, or they're getting bounced up and down.
Yeah, but he's also been in the big leagues
of Gold Glove defense.
How many?
I noticed you avoided the Gold Glove. I don't know why he has a Gold Glove, but I noticed you've avoided it.
I honestly did not know he had a Gold Glove until you just said it. So
It's
there's that.
absurd. I mean, we've talked about it. Throw the award away.
Yeah, the
But
Gold Glove is whatever, but it is really funny that he
listen,
has one.
if MLB started doing the fucking NBA patch jackets at the All-Star game with all your accolades, he's not going out there like Melo. There's multiple accolades he has up here, and I love Melo. No disrespect at all to Melo.
That was very.
But everyone knows
you run him up for no reason.
No, because everyone knows what I'm talking about. I'm looking at his
rude.
accolades. He's got a Gold Glove. He's got a Silver Slugger.
You could have easily said his jacket would not have been empty, and everybody would have understood what the fuck.
Melo had one thing on his jacket. You're the one being disrespectful.
Excuse me. Sorry.
It's not
the
empty.
one thing on Melo's jacket was naked as hell. If you just said, "Hey man, he's not going out there with a lonely jacket," everybody would understand what the fuck you meant. Man, you decided to bring Melo in for no reason outside of disrespect.
Knows what that jacket looks like. You're the one who said there was nothing on it. You were the disrespectful one. And you're a Knicks fan again. That's embarrassing.
Why is it embarrassing?
You don't even remember you're the franchise's best player the last 25 years.
I love Jalen Brunson.
Stop it.
What? I love Jalen Brunson. What's the beef? What's the issue? I ride for Jalen Brunson. I have a Jalen Brunson jersey in my closet.
Sure.
No, I don't.
I'm sure that's another top 15 jersey. It's crazy it's crazy he's not starting the All-Star game since it's so fucking easy to do.
Oh, brother. Okay. Okay.
Maybe Knicks fans should, I don't know, support their players if they like them so much.
We do.
You didn't vote for him, obviously.
I mean, Tyrese Halliburton's better. What do you want me to tell you?
Booming metropolis of Indianapolis. Yeah,
he's better. He's clearly very popular.
Wally Zerbiak loves him. Freddie Freeman, there's just the rest of these names, just because I genuinely want to know. I think there are two other options that were no doubt options. Everyone else, I see more of an argument for Vlad than them, and it's Acuna, who we covered, and I just read Julio Rodriguez. Those are the two that make sense to me that were no doubt great options. Especially Acuna coming off the MVP. Julio, I assume he's just going to be next year's, quite honestly. I think they're just saving him for next year. I don't know that there's, the rest of this list. Mookie Betts, I think he's already had one.
Yeah, give him another.
Well,
everything he wants.
I honestly think the only argument that makes sense is it should just be Ohtani every year. That makes sense to me.
I agree. I agree. But if you're not gonna give it to Ohtani, Mookie Betts is a great representative for
it. That's Altuve, no. Matt Olson, great season, no doubt. I don't know if I've ever heard him speak out loud. You know what I mean?
He hits dingers. That's all that's needed.
He does hit dingers.
He hits dingers.
Yeah, I don't know that
he's better than Vlad. So
super interesting. I mean, yeah, he's coming off a much better season.
Correct. So
if you told me I had to take one of them for the next decade, it's not even a debate.
Well, Olson's 29, so I would hope.
Whose fault is that?
Not ours.
No,
not mine. I didn't do it.
Calm down. Wait a minute. Bregman for sure not. Mike Trout. No one moves the needle like Mike Trout.
He hits dingers. I don't know what the problem is.
He doesn't even play baseball, as far as I'm concerned.
Keep going.
Freddie Freeman,
police officer. Next,
right? Yeah. Austin Riley, again, really great player. I don't know that anyone's rushing out to buy the Austin Riley edition of MLB The Show. I just don't think that person exists.
Can't argue that. Never heard Austin Riley speak. So.
Right, yeah, great player.
Awesome player.
Take nothing away from him. Unbelievable player.
I don't know anything about him. I think that is a litany of issues put together. Issues is too strong because maybe he just doesn't want to be in front of the cameras. That's his prerogative.
Listen, he got paid, and he's I'm just going to keep being maybe probably the best third baseman in baseball.
Whoa! We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that.
Who am I missing?
Jose Ramirez. We don't need to do that.
Okay,
he's right there. Also, right.
I still think
second place. I know. And be done with it. Yeah.
Listen, I know it's not correct. I still think of Jose Ramirez as a second baseman, even though I know he's played way more games.
Okay, fair.
I didn't think of him
for years.
At all
for years, I have the same problem. I look at him and I see second baseman even now. But I've now been arguing in his favor for 4 years, so it's finally stuck. He's a third baseman, so yeah.
Sure. No, I mean I don't disagree with you. Jose Ramirez is
Austin Riley is comfortably, well, not comfortably. Devers is there with him, but I think Austin's probably slightly better.
Yeah,
Really?
Respectfully, I think.
Well, you know
I
what?
mean,
Defense is a part of the game.
that's what I mean. Offensively, it's
Yeah,
kind
never
of a
mind.
toss-up,
Yeah,
and
defense is a part of the
defensively,
game.
it's a
Yeah.
bloodbath. So
Never mind.
that's
Fair.
that's where it's like,
Fair.
you
No
know what?
arguments.
I tip my cap to Riley.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with Devers on my team. Love him. I'm not gonna lie on the guy. There's no reason to do that.
No reason.
And then the next option is interesting to a point, and it's Joey Votto. Now again, I don't know if the average fan is sprinting out to get the Joey Votto edition. If you're deep into baseball, you most likely love Joey Votto. Not even necessarily the player, but the person. So that's where I kind of see both sides of it. But I also definitely understand if they were going to put a red on there,
I'm not going to argue.
It's going to be Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, right. I'm not going to sit here and argue with him not putting a 40-year-old on the cover.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
not going to sit here and argue. Like I think there's a really good, compelling case to be made. I also think the type of people who love Joey Votto are not the type of people they're marketing to. Like I love.
No,
Joey
they
Votto.
already got that guy.
I love Joey Votto. They're not marketing for me. Like casuals or those type of people are kind of who they're marketing towards, which is fine. Right. That's what they're supposed to do.
Which goes back to like, most people have heard of Vlad Guerrero Jr. or Vlad Guerrero. If we put his son out there, maybe 3 extra people buy the game. That's worth it.
Nepotism is great. I love that.
And then Seager at 14. The Rangers won the World Series. No one watched it. Corey Seager was the best shortstop in baseball last year. Was terrible. If we're going to be fair, it was terrible before they banned the shift. So
yes, he was.
I don't like Seager's cool.
Nobody ripped it up after the shift more than Corey. He must have been the happiest motherfucker on earth when they were like, "Yeah, we banned the shift."
He was in the owners' meetings wearing like a fake mustache. Like, I think we can get this shift fucking out. He
got his Bobby Valentine on.
Yeah. Everyone was like, I don't know who that is, but he's got some ideas. But I'll say this. If they had put Seager on the cover, it doesn't cause the outrage that Vlad has caused. Like, people are legitimately angry. I think if it was Seager, they would have been like, yeah, he just won World Series. Did he even win a World Series MVP? He must have.
He had to have. He did.
I mean, Garcia went crazy.
Yeah, he has 2 now.
Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. 1 in each league. Yep. So, I don't think anyone would have batted an eye if it was Seager. I think Votto people would have been like, "What?"
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would have got a lot of bewilderment.
And I think if it were Julio, Braves fans would still be mad because they'd be like, "Well, what the fuck with Acuna?" But I think most people would have been fine with that. And honestly, I think it's one of them 2 next year. I don't know, unless Ellie goes. There had
to have been some kind of something stopping that from happening this year. Like, am I wrong in assuming that? Because it's too easy. It's such a layup. Like, he had one of the best seasons of all time last year, relatively speaking.
Acuna?
Yes.
Yes.
And he's one of the most popular people in baseball. So.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how far out they plan stuff like this.
That's true.
Like Madden's obviously very year to year.
Yeah.
Like they have no problem figuring that out like the day before it launches. I mean, they're also not that focused on making Madden, so that's a different problem.
Yeah.
NBA feels like it's just going to be Kobe the rest of our lives. Like they're fine with just doing that.
Another reason I'm never going to buy one again, but that's neither here nor there. Carry on.
And MLS, the soccer one, I don't know how they do that, but it's typically someone I've heard of, so I know it's one of those guys. It's no, they don't have. I'm sure they are having debates like, no, Kevin De Bruyne is better than. I don't have that many soccer guys I can pull from, but better than this guy.
We didn't expect to hear Kevin De Bruyne. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. KDB. Yeah, didn't expect to hear KDB's name on this show.
I don't know why that was the first one I could think of, which is peculiar. But
Gabriel Jesus, like they're not like, yeah, I'm sure there's something. I wonder if we should put him on the cover, right? Yeah, and then they stick with whoever the soccer player is.
Yeah, like that guy always avails himself pretty easily. Hockey, it truly doesn't matter. They could put, and even hockey fans, because hockey fans will just buy it. They could put no cover, they would buy it. Those people are savages, so of course they would. Like they don't give a fuck, savages. Whoever it is. baseball, I wouldn't be surprised if, because of some of the stuff you were talking about, they do like to project a few years out who are the next faces of the league going to be. I think that's how Jazz kind of got it. They were like, we view this guy as someone who could be one of the faces of the league in the coming years. And I don't think that's completely inaccurate still. Even
he just got to stay healthy. That's his biggest problem.
Big time.
Like, he's good when he's on the field, and he's fun.
He's unbelievable. He's electric factory.
Yeah, so I understand why they did that one.
But I still think Vlad makes sense for everything that they're trying to do. He doesn't play for an inflammatory team that draws ire out of any fan base other than one.
You see the outrage over him being on the cover, so apparently he caused enough outrage for that. Apparently,
but the people I saw outraged were quoting like F war and stuff. You know who baseball doesn't have to give a fuck about? The people who are quoting cover athletes F war compared to players on their own team. That guy's going fucking nowhere. This is all he has. He is going to be buying this game and making his own cover. I guarantee you he will print out his Photoshop his own cover. Again, same city like the Atlanta Hawks, and have every fucking Brave. Travis d'Arnaud is going to be on that cover. I don't even know if he's on the fucking team still anymore. Sean Murphy, like, why wasn't Sean Murphy? He had a higher F war than Vlad Guerrero Jr. Put Sean Murphy on the cover. Like, that's what they're arguing. And it's like baseball has that guy already. They don't need that guy. That guy's going nowhere anytime soon.
What's funny is that they really didn't even need to cite F4 when the whole OPS is just right there. But I mean, they could.
That was the crazy. Like,
that's the crazy. I don't know why they needed to cite F4. Like, he has a sub 800 OPS last year. You could have just pointed to that and left it alone.
Like the Braves team set the OPS record last year. Like, they could have picked literally anyone.
Sure did. You could have been like, probably like 6-7 dudes on that team had a higher OPS. Like, I'm not even saying that to be disrespectful to Vlad,
sure.
but like,
it's correct.
They had one of the best lineups of the last 20 years. So yeah,
ever.
Like, true.
Really ever. So true. It's
right.
Yeah. Like, that's when baseball's like, we know the nerds are going to be mad no matter who we put on the cover. They will find an argument against anybody. So what do we care about that guy? Who is cool to the youth? Vladdy jerseys are selling everywhere. He's getting votes every year. It's an easy sell for them.
Listen, what Vlad's apparent pop? Well, not apparent. He's let me drop it. He's 15th in jersey sales. Like, he's popular. What Vlad's jersey sales tell me is that there's a lot of insufficient parenting going on, and we need to fix that as a society. There's a lot of insufficient parenting going on, and we need to fix that as a society, because we are apparently this involved in, and just we've thrown our support behind a husky underachiever. That's what we've done. This is what we want. This is the message we want to send to our kids. A guy who doesn't live up to expectations and says shit like the part one was the movie, this is the sequel, and then proceeds to win 0 playoff games in 3 years. Like, this is the message we want to send to our children.
Sounds like he made the same movie. People like that out of sequels.
Hey man, you know what the fuck I meant. Stop it. You're right. That's a fair fucking thing to say, but fuck you. You know what I meant. Like, this is the guy we want to parade in front of our kids. I sound like a Republican. Anyways, yeah, carry on. I'll drop the bit.
Get this brown foreigner off my video game cover, says Kevin Lewis. That's
hey man, cut that. Hey man, cut that. We not running that. Cut that.
Build a wall to the north, he says. Why stop at the south? These Dominicans are sneaking in from both sides. Get them out. That's what Kevin just said.
Cut that. Cut that. We cut that. No, it's not gonna make it to the final cut. Cut that.
It's disgusting. Genuinely disgusting. This poor immigrant just trying to make it in this country, and you're just shitting all over his parade.
This poor immigrant trying to make it in this country, he says.
Still not even here. He's still stuck in Canada. He can't even get here. For 1 year, he gets to play in America. He's thrilled. He crushes all these dingers. You hold it against him. It's
Yo, you have gotten a lot out of that. That was a good bit. I appreciate that run. That was great. The 1 year he was in this country in 48 home runs. That's funny. I can't knock it. That's hilarious.
He was so happy.
And I'm holding American. It against him that he had fun in America.
You deported him. You said get him out. He's taking our jobs. He's taking all our all-star
He's
votes.
taking our
Get him out.
dingers. He's taking our
What else
dingers.
do
Man.
we
Can't
have? What
we
else
used
do
to
we
have home
have?
runs. We can't have those anymore either. Come
It's
on.
disgusting. You got a Gold Glove? Out.
I can't believe he has a Gold Glove. What year did he win the Gold Glove? It was last year, right?
22, yeah.
I mean, he was a good defender. I can't knock him for it. I'm not going to pretend like I know enough about AL first baseman to know if he had a great case. Don't fucking know. Don't care. Never will care. But he's a good defensive first baseman.
Player. That's what I'm hearing.
All
I'm
right.
hearing
All right. Who the fuck is Vlad running from?
Listen, 18 stolen bases to 8 caught stealing. That's more than the fucking speedster you talked about earlier this offseason.
We're bringing Garrett Hampson back into the show?
Yeah, I'll never remember his name.
That's what we're doing? Well, he had 18 steals in 5 years. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
18. So he averaged 4 steals a year, and this is what we're doing? Like he had more than Garrett Hampson?
I mean, if we're being honest, his age 20 and 21 seasons, he had 1 stolen base. He's just been on the up and up every year since. It sounds like 30-30. It's not out of the question.
It depends on what the 30s are. What categories are we talking about?
Doubles and dingers, I feel like he's got that on lock for sure.
Yes. Doubles and dingers. Yeah, he got that.
He's only done that once, and it wasn't even the season you keep bringing up. It was the next season. This is where it's like, I don't understand. Like, I get the hate just because of the jersey he wears. Like, I understand that's part of the equation. The 22 season, I think every fan in America would have been thrilled with if it happened for their team. Like, genuinely thrilled.
I would have been cool with it. I'm not going to act like I'm over the moon because the well-hyped prospect put up a regular good season in his 4th year. I'm not going to act like I would have been great with that. It was his 4th year. Like, well, it's his age 22 season. Yeah, he's been in the bigs for 4 years, though.
Okay.
Most 22-year-olds are not in the bigs for 4 fucking years. He's been in the bigs for 4 years. And yes, that says something to how good a prospect he is and was. Understood. Likely everything that I've said in this conversation is going to age poorly. Like that's everything.
That's what I don't get. Like, I know you're capable of being like, I've seen good stuff. He's 24. I imagine this is only going to get better.
But I said that, and I also said he's been a disappointment. All of the things can be true.
30 minutes in.
All of that. Yeah, because that's not fun. I'm not going to get out here and say, you know what? He's not that good right now, but he could be good. The show would have ended 40 minutes ago. That's not fun.
Another guy with a Gold Glove, his age 22 season, 81 OPS plus, 666 OPS. All I keep hearing about is how good Anthony Volpe is going to be, and their numbers really don't prove it. Disappointment. Number 1 prospect in baseball. Guy stinks.
How do I put this politely? First of all, kick rocks. Second of all, Anthony Volpe's 2023 season offensively was objectively a disappointment. Like, that was a disappointment.
Disappointment's a very friendly word. Vlad's never put up numbers this low.
Vlad's expectations are higher.
Why? Because Anthony Volpe Sr. was bad at baseball?
Are you kidding me? What do you mean why? He was a way better prospect than Anthony Volpe. What are you talking about?
Was Volpe not top 10? In baseball. I know for the Yankees.
Where was Vlad?
I genuinely don't remember.
Number 1. He was number 1. He was,
but even still, like top 10, when there's literally thousands of prospects, is splitting hairs. It's the same fucking thing.
No, it's not, because we're talking offensively. The range of what was expected is way different when you're talking about Vlad as opposed to Volpe. Vlad was supposed to be a can't miss, and he has not missed. I'm not here to argue that. Obviously, I'm not that crazy to argue that he has missed. He hasn't. He's just been slightly disappointing.
I feel like I heard very similar things about Volpe.
That he's a can't miss prospect?
Yes, absolutely. People are saying you can't trade this guy. Yankee fans left and right were saying you can't trade this guy. He's our Jeter 2.0. Like, well,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Let's not rewrite recent history.
Yes, but saying that you shouldn't trade somebody is not saying they're a can't miss prospect either.
I didn't say that. I was saying both. Okay. They were saying both.
Fair.
You can't trade him because he's a can't miss prospect is what was said.
Okay, and then some people just said you just can't trade him, which
Sure, but
okay.
that's not who
But
I
like
brought up.
the can't miss prospect thing with Volpe and why people didn't want to trade him. He was a glove first prospect. Sorry, a bat first prospect who we didn't expect much out of him. But it was a lot of pre-cope because the Yankees told you themselves what time it was. So people made their peace and they started lying to themselves. That's a big part of what the narrative was, because if it was open to if the Yankees were more open to trading him, regardless of what they got back, like obviously you expect a good return, right? If they were more open to trading him and signing a Correa, Trey Turner, or any of the fucking bevy of star shortstops that have been free agents the last 2 years, there would be no reason for these fans to be like, "Oh, you can't trade Volpe." The first thing came first, and then the fans fed into the fucking propaganda. That's kind of what a lot of them. Some of them just like Volpe, which is cool, but a lot of it was, "Hey man, the Yankees are not going to trade him, so I just got to make my bed and make peace with the fact that they're not going to fucking trade him." But
I
either
think
way,
you're
his
giving
rookie
Yankee
season offensively
fans.
was disappointing. That
I think you're giving Yankee fans a lot of credit for being much smarter than they are.
I don't think pre-coping is smart. I don't think coping is smart. I think it's
No,
dumb.
I think, and I think Volpe's going to be fine. Like I'm
Yeah,
not saying he's
same,
shit, but I don't.
same.
I think you're giving a lot of extra friendlier context and making excuses for what people said about Volpe, but using opinions against
I
Vlad as a
just
reason to
said
hold against him.
it. I said two of the following things in the last 5 fucking minutes of the show. One, Volpe's offensive season in his rookie year was disappointing. Two, I think Yankee fans and pre-coping is stupid. I don't understand what
Yeah,
more
but that
you
doesn't
want
have
me to
anything to
say.
do with what I just said.
Well, continue.
You're using extra context to excuse what people said about Volpe, but using opinions against
How can
Vlad
I be
against him.
excusing it when I said it was dumb? I'm not excusing anything. I'm just telling you what happened.
But
I'm
calling
not
it
excusing the shit.
pre-coping
It
as
is.
opposed to projecting like what they did with Vlad, you're using those opinions against him, not just going off what he's done. You're using hype and expectation against him.
Anthony Volpe's rookie season is disappointing partially because of the fucking opinions bestowed upon him.
But
Now,
again,
yeah,
saying one of these is disappointing and the other one's disappointing is not the same. Like,
I am a Yankee fan. Do you want me to say he sucked? He sucked. All right,
I
there
mean,
it
he
is.
did. He was
He sucked.
terrible.
Offensively, he fucking
Yeah, right.
sucked. Fine.
That's different than disappointing.
Off, it is, and you wanted
Because
you just wanted to hear me say Yankees suck. That's what you
no,
wanted
I
to
wanted
hear.
to I wanted to know how broad your range of disappointment was
Okay,
because a
I mean,
133
there's a
OPS plus versus an 80 is
listen.
quite a big
There's
range.
fair. There's a wide range of disappointing. Disappointing is not the first word that should come up with Volpe. I think
No,
we can both agree. Offensively, he was bad, and I think a lot of Yankee fans, again, I think part of this goes back to the pre-coping,
could
are
be.
just assuming that he's going to be a lot better and make some massive leap offensively in a way that I'm not exactly sure what leads you to that conclusion. I'm just not. Like I see it every like oh Volpe's gonna be hitting lead off by June. What are we basing this on?
Well,
Seriously, what are we basing this on?
a lot of people still equate like speed with lead off.
No,
Like
but
it,
they think he's going to make a massive leap in the plate discipline category because he was, to be fair to him, good at that in the minors. And I'm just like, did you watch it last year though? Like we don't have anything in the majors that points to they're going to trust him enough to hit him first. Now, granted, they did hit him lead off a few times last year. That is the thing
right.
that did happen. And then they
Well, they were
realized, I don't know if we want to do this anymore, and then stopped. So I'm not sure what we're assuming, what we're basing this on outside of hope. And I'm not here to argue. Hope if you must. Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you should be negative about your 22-year-old shortstop. Like I'm not going to.
sure.
We don't want to tell you that. Do you? I am skeptical to a degree. That's all. And last year didn't do a lot to assuage the my conservatism with regards to what he's going to do. Like I'm not aggressively saying he's going to be excellent. I don't fucking know. Maybe he does. Maybe he
His
doesn't.
his August was far and away his best month. So it happening that late, I can understand why people are like, I can see a
Yeah.
big jump. And it's year two in the bigs. Like I don't think he's going to be bad. Him hitting leadoff would mean something terrible happened to a better player. So
I
I'm
mean,
not against
given
that.
the type of options the Yankees have besides 99 and 22, it wouldn't even
For,
take something terrible. Like that's like if LeMayu just outright is ass instead of the usual average, you could be looking at Volpe leadoff by default. Like it doesn't take a lot. I mean, Verdugo, I guess, would be next up, and I'd rather
You just said him.
I said LeMahieu.
No, you said 99. Is the captain not making his new star acquisition feel welcomed? Did he not give up the number?
His new what?
They made him shave. He couldn't at least break him off a number. It's just a number.
His new what? What did you say?
Listen, that guy's been a centerpiece to multiple big deals.
If you don't fuck off, fuck off, man. Fuck off. Now you're using that to your benefit? Fuck off, bro.
Listen.
Fuck off, bro.
They don't trade Dick Fitz for nobodies. You know what I mean? That's a pretty penny. But yeah, I just wanted to know like how wide your range of disappointment was for like objectively great prospects.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, a generational prospect should have more than one great season in year 5. I think that's a fair.
I agree. I hope Volpe gets 2 over the next 4 years because it would be a shame.
Nobody called Volpe generational, so he doesn't have to worry about that.
Of course they did.
No, you didn't. Nobody.
Of course they did. Stop it. You've done this with like not you specifically. Yankee fans have done this with like 9 straight prospects. Clint Frazier was going to be Mickey Mantle 2.0. Like it happens all the time.
Nobody said that.
You're already comparing Spencer Jones to Aaron Judge. Like it's insane what you people do with your prospects.
and you buy into that.
I don't think he's going to be Aaron Judge.
You have him on your dynasty team. God damn it.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. I said I was scouting him. I said I was scouting him. I do not have him on the team.
Okay.
I have 3 picks I get to make in this year's draft for that part of it, the prospect part of it, and he's under consideration because he's 6'7" and he's fast.
And you believe in him enough to
I don't. He's not at the top of my list at all. He's like maybe like he would be my 3rd pick if I.
There has to be some level of belief if you scout him.
No, they're lottery tickets. I play the lottery all the time. I am not a multimillionaire.
All right. Fair. Okay.
Like it's difficult.
Fair.
But like Esteban Florial, fucking Miguel Andujar, Gary Sanchez, all these players.
All right, we didn't have to put Gary in there. Stop hurting my feelings.
And they're never good.
Gary was good. Stop.
He's literally not even in the league.
He's a free agent.
Fucking, I read the first. So are like several 47-year-olds. I don't want to.
So is Blake Snell. So what are we talking about?
We'll see how good of pals they are.
Gary Sanchez was a perfectly good major leaguer when he was a Yankee for like 3 years.
He had a hot 6 months for sure.
and he followed up with a good 2017, and he was good in 19.
The ping ponging of good is for who it applies to. That's like you have preconceived notions about Vlad. It speaks more to how great he is. I
mean, if you want to call that great, I mean, we all have different definitions of the word great. Yeah.
If he does what he has done the last 3 years, even including the bad year last year, below average, bad's harsh. He still had a high 700s OPS.
He was
below
fine.
average.
He was fine.
Yeah. If he stays on this trajectory for the next 15 years, he's walking into the Hall of Fame. Walking. First ballot. Like assuming
you're gonna make me say something I don't want to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Somebody could be in the Hall of Fame.
No, they cannot.
Somebody could be in the Hall of Fame and be disappointing. That's possible.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. No. Yes, it is. It's absolutely possible.
It would like Tom Brady. I could make like a non-crazy person argument that he should, not could, should have 11 rings. Like I could make that argument very easily. Is he a disappointment?
Winning 7 rings is not disappointing by any standard.
Listen, he could have won more. He could have won nearly double the amount. I'm talking with like 4 throws, not even with like, oh, if this happened and this. I'm talking like 4 throws.
No, you're absolutely right. The thought makes me sick, but you're absolutely correct. Like you're correct. Like, bro, if the Manning's parents never met each other, he might have 9. Seriously, I mean, well, not even 9. Sorry, he lost 2 of Eli. He might have 10.
The 11. That's the 11.
Good call. Yes, like
he
they
lost
never
twice
met each
to
other.
Peyton,
Right?
When Peyton played the Bears and the Panthers, that's 2. He lost 2 to Eli, where he held the lead in the late 4th quarter. That's 2 more.
Yeah,
that's not even me counting the fucking Eagles game where he had the single best game any quarterback's ever had in the Super Bowl. He should have 12. Thank you for bringing that up. I wasn't even thinking about both Mannings.
Listen. By the literal letter of the law of the definition of the word disappointment, you could argue that Tom Brady not having more rings is disappointing. You can, but there's obviously levels to disappointment. Obviously, there's a levels to disappointment. Tom Brady not winning 11 rings and the Jets not winning 1 in 50 years is a little bit different in terms of disappointment. Just a little bit. Like there's levels to this. There's levels to this. But if you look up the definition of disappointing, like you could legitimately make the argument that it's slightly disappointing. Because you're talking about the difference between 7 rings and double digit. Now, is anybody going to get to 7 championships again? Maybe. I mean, Mahomes might.
Yeah, I was going to say the guy Mahomes on the fucking quest.
Yeah, Mahomes might. Fine, he's 28. He might get number 3 in a couple weeks. So he might. If he had gotten 10, ain't nobody beating that ever. Like Mahomes is a machine. I get it. Football is football. There's going to be lean years. There's going to be disappointing. There's going to be like a bad injury here and there. Whatever it is, it's hard to do it. Hence why Tom is by himself. And like the next highest is what, 5, 4? Like who?
Yeah, well, for quarterbacks, it's 4 or 3.
4, right? So like, if Tom had 10, ain't nobody ever seen that. So yeah, can somebody say it's disappointing? Yeah, but here's the thing. It just makes you sound like a jackass if you say you're disappointed he don't got 10 rings. It does.
Montana has what, 4?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even remember anymore. It feels like that got passed so long ago.
Montana. Yeah, we haven't talked about Joe Montana in that kind of context in a long time because there's no real reason to. There's no real reason to. But like, hell, I'm a Yankee fan. The Mariano lit 2 World Series on fire. Could I sit here and tell you that was disappointing? Yeah, of course it was. Am I going to sit here and complain about it every day? No, that makes me sound psychotic. No. No, I'm not going to complain about it every single fucking day. And quite frankly, to bring Vlad back into this, it would be like me harping on him every day. Like I just harp on him when the topic comes up. I'm not banging on him every day. Like, man, this guy is such a waste. Like, no, he's a perfectly good player. He just isn't what they hyped him up to be yet. But can he get there? Sure. He's 24. I could be reasonable and still say he's a fucking disappointment because that makes for good goddamn television or radio or whatever the fuck this is. Yeah, media. Yeah.
I don't like the fake shit. It's not how I operate.
It's not fake. I believe what the fuck I say.
No, I mean producing takes for television would.
No, I believe the take that I say.
No, I'm not saying you necessarily.
Multiple things can be true at the same time.
I said I think that makes you insane. That's
okay.
Because you do believe it.
Because I do believe. Okay, I mean fair. Yes. I've been called insane for less. I guess.
I mean, yeah, you were a Jets fan until super recently. That was insane. But I mean, while Brady was playing, I was like, especially in the middle, it was just like, yeah, you left that one on the bone. Like I would love to know what game he would like to have back because I have a feeling he might not even say the 18-1 game.
I have a theory on that. I think, and I mean, he said he did make reference to this at some point, but like if there was one game that he could change the result of, I think he would change it. Well, maybe this is stretching it because he did lose Super Bowls fine, but like I think he hates the Jets so fucking much that he would he said it. Like I'm going by what he said. He said this. Like he said that was the worst.
Well, the playoff loss.
Yeah. Okay,
all right. Yeah. That's. I thought you were talking about like week 3, 2014.
Fuck no, the playoff.
Like, man, I can't believe it.
I can't believe I miss Kimbrel Tompkins. I can't believe it. Like the playoff loss. I think if he could overturn one result to think that would be the one based on how he sounded when he was talking about it.
No, and I understand what he's saying. The Patriots, when he lost those games, and I'm not making excuses, they never should have lost to the Jets. The Jets played unbelievable in those games. They had the youngest roster in the league. They just had Tom, so they were still winning the division and seemed like
that was like Mahomes last year.
Sure.
Like they weren't supposed to be there because it was supposed to be a retool
Reset.
year, and and then they won 14 games, and then obviously it was like, oh well, you have Tom, so you have a shot. Like basically that was the entire theme of the Patriots that year. Like you have Tom, you have a shot.
Yeah, and obviously because of who he is, he doesn't get that grace. He hadn't won at that point in almost a decade. Like it had been 04 season, late 05, or early 05 when the Super Bowl happened. This was the early early 10s. So it had been a while. He had lost to the Giants twice. It was just like, man, it might be over. Like those expectations are heavy. I think he would take back one of the two Peyton losses in the AFC Championship. The year he got to beat the Bears, and the year his defense beat the Broncos. I think there's a key the Panthers.
I think there's a key difference between the I guess Manning, because it was in two different locations. Manning losing to Manning's team than losing to the Jets, because he respects one of them and doesn't respect the other. So like I think I think he was just like, but I could deal with losing to Peyton because that's
it's not the loss to Peyton. Yeah. It's not the loss to Peyton. It's
it's looking forward,
guaranteed Super Bowl. Yeah, it's the Bears weren't beating anybody. You know what I mean?
I'm a Yankees fan. I saw 2004. I understand the theory. It makes me sick. I understand the fucking theory, because if fucking Tony Clark's ball stays in the park, the Yankees walk past St. Louis. The Yankees or Red Sox was the World Series that year, point blank. That's
1,000%.
It was a fucking World
Although
Series.
I did think that in 03 too, and that proved not to be the case. But I agree more with 04. The Cardinals.
No, I mean, the Cardinals were just they were roadkill. That's what the fuck they were. They were roadkill.
And the Panthers one, I don't think he'd want that one back, just because I don't know that it was a guarantee we would have beat the Panthers. That Broncos defense was just so elite that they shifted that game entirely. But the Bears, I mean, come on. The 06 Bears, I'm sure he would love that one back. But yeah, the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals show up World Series time. I'm just like, next. Like, this can we play literally anyone else? This is too simple, and we'll never see them again.
And just to add further to this conversation, because I'm the type of person who will look up words and read actual definitions of them. So I pulled up the word disappointment. Oh, yeah, I've been waiting. Great, lovely. A person, event, or thing that causes disappointment.
Oh, sorry. That says nothing about levels.
Expectations are a part of disappointment.
Yeah,
by nature. So if you expected Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to be one of the singular hitters in baseball, you are disappointed. Because he's not. I expected
him to wallop home runs at a
pace most other players. I expected that motherfucker to be Juan Soto. Now maybe that says what it needs to say about me. That's fine.
Juan Soto is literally compared to Ted Williams, and that's it. I genuinely don't remember anyone saying that about Vlad. Not a soul.
When you have a chance, whenever it
compared
is,
to Ted Williams,
have 10 minutes. No. But they compared Juan Soto to Ted Williams after his rookie year.
Sure.
They were comparing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to a lot of great. They were comparing him to Pujols when he was a minor leaguer. He was a way better prospect than Soto was.
I thought you were saying that. I don't remember where Soto ended in his rankings.
Me either. That's kind of the point.
Sure, it wasn't low.
No, it wasn't fucking low, but it wasn't number one either.
We weren't highly scouting the Nationals farm system. I know that for a fact.
Fair.
And the Nationals had Bryce Harper, the free agent. They were like, "We're all set. We've got something else coming." And so it's not like nobody knew about this guy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But we're literally the only thing I know about Juan Soto pre-MLB was that when the Nationals first met him, they physically removed him from the eyesight of other teams. So he didn't sneak on the fucking scene.
No, he didn't. No, he definitely did not sneak on the scene. But and I have to look up where he ranked, because I did read an old Baseball America prospects list, and he was somewhere the 30s, I believe, the final one. And Vlad was just one for a while. And they were comparing him. They were making all kind of comparisons. Again, and I'm not comparing them. It's not apples to apples. But like, if somebody wanted to say they're disappointed with Dwight Howard's career, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not, because I never expect him to be fucking Shaq. But the way he was fucking marketed, some people did. And if you say that, like, he never developed a consistent post game, I'm disappointed. Go for it. Like, I disagree, but go for it. With Vlad, it's like, I expected more. Now, again, a lot of time. He's 24. He got a lot of time. And again, if and when he takes off and he becomes, top 5 hitter, like, which is within his range of outcomes, we can look back at the show and laugh, especially if he does it in another place. Because the best case scenario for me here is he continues to do this in Toronto, where it's like he's good, but he leaves you wanting more. And then the minute he leaves, he becomes God. That's the best case scenario here for me and you, everybody involved.
I mean, if my team was serious at all, I would be trying to get him here. But I just know that's not even an option. So
I mean, y'all got Tristan Casas, bro. You're fine.
So according to MLB, the Nationals prospect rankings in 2018, Soto was their number 2 prospect.
Behind who?
Which is just insane. They had him behind Victor Robles.
Okay.
And so they had him, the highest he was 29th in baseball, which is insane.
In retrospect, it's really wild, yes.
So Vlad was 3 in 18. When did Vladdy debut?
I want to say it was 18.
No, because 19 was when he was number 1.
Okay, so it wasn't.
And so he reached number 1 in 19, but that was it. That was the only year he was 1. Obviously, he was top 3 the year before that. Victor Robles was 4 in 2019. Overall,
I know.
This is the whole top 5. Vlad, Fernando Tatis Jr., Eloy Jimenez, Victor Robles, and Royce Lewis. That has not gone away for one of those fellas. Kyle Tucker was 8th. Who else? Bo Bichette was 11th. Jesus Luzardo was 12th. A Criminal was 13th.
I wonder who you could be talking about. I wonder. A Criminal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he hasn't been caught up yet. But he went from 19. He went from 19 to 1 in 2020.
No comment. Too easy. No comment.
So yeah, this is Bobby Witt hit number 1 overall, right?
I think he did.
22. Must have been 22. Yeah, 22 is number 1. Ahead of Julio. That's where it's like Julio's been better. You know what I mean? That's where, and I'm sure the talk around Julio at that time, Bobby Witt obviously had a ton of press and has been very good. He is the only 30-30 season in Royals history. I know there were people who were like, Julio's going to be better. Rutschman was 2. I know people felt that way about Rutschman in 22. And I think in 23 he became 1. No, Gunnar did.
Gunnar.
And Gunner's was 1 last year. Corbin Carroll was 2. Volpe was 5.
See, nobody's ever thought Volpe was generational. See?
Man, no, never.
See? Never. See? Top 5. 5th. Victor Robles was 5th.
No, he wasn't. He was 4th.
Sorry, excuse me. My bad. Victor Robles was fucking 4th.
Volpe got to 5th overall in baseball because Yankee fan copium. That's what happened. That's what happened.
That's what we're doing?
That's what you said.
That's not what I said.
That's pretty much exactly what you said.
That's not what
Whether
I said.
or not you want to own up to it's your problem.
That's not what I said. We can run the tape. I didn't.
I know we can.
We can run the tape.
For sure. I'm not going to cut
You can clip it. You could cut it and however you want it. You're not going to find me saying that.
You said Volpe was inflated because of Yankee copium and to build walled in the north. And those are the things you've said this episode.
Oh, you're gonna get me in trouble with these fake quotes, fake news. You're gonna get in trouble with
People
this.
go back and hear how you talked about the whites and hear how you talked about the non-whites in this episode. They can draw their own conclusions. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not going to get myself in more trouble, so I'm just going to. I'm not going to say anything. I don't have anything to say. You'll hear from my lawyer.
Final thoughts. Minor leaguers keep getting paid. The Red Sox won't do that shit either. But Colt Keith got signed to a crisp Ozzy Albies deal.
Don't get me started.
I mean, honestly, that was the first thing I thought of. If this guy's nice, he is in for a rude awakening.
Oh no, 100%. Like he, I don't think he signed a good deal. I will say, I will compare it directly to Scott Kingery. Scott Kingery was a worse prospect, and that was like 5 years ago, and he got more money. So that doesn't add up to me. I think he got
more guaranteed, right? Or total, regardless.
I think it was guaranteed.
I know Keith has, I think, 2 option years. And to be fair, it's 6 years. I'm pretty sure it was like his entire arbitration anyways. So it's not like Detroit bought out much. They maybe got a year.
Okay, no, it was 6 for 24. I completely misremembered that. Never mind. Kingery was 6 for 24.
It was comparable.
It was comparable. Years after. And it's still, and that's still the point. It shouldn't have been comparable because, again, Keith is better at his 5 years later. Now, how Keith ends up in the major leagues, nobody will know. Nobody will know until he does it.
Yeah, and I think he does have escalators in his deal. I think he has, if not 1 $15 million options at the end of it. Obviously, they're team options. And listen, he's 22 years old. He's been really good in the minors. Someone offered him $30 million with a chance to make $50 million. Most 22-year-olds are going to take that, especially in baseball.
Yeah.
And it's why I don't understand why other teams don't do it as a standard, because it's not an it's not a risky investment at all. If it doesn't pan out, oh well. Like a sold-out home series pays
the Braves laid out the fucking blueprint, and people just don't want to. And I get the Braves. Maybe they get away with stuff nobody else would. Like you pointed that out, and that's a very fair thing to say, because I am going to go ahead and assume that they're not the only team that tries this.
Sure.
But they're the only team that does it, and does it every time. It's not like they do it every time. Now, granted, some people tell them no. Like Max Fried told them to go fuck themselves, for example. Sure. Right? But it's right. It just doesn't happen anywhere near often enough with quite literally everybody else for me to think that it's not an everybody else issue.
Sure.
Because, like, I mean, we're looking at it with the Red Sox right now with their first baseman. Like, there's no reason to not just pay him. We need to see more. Yeah, if you see more, it becomes more expensive. That's the point. So like, if you see more, it becomes more expensive. And the Red Sox have fucked themselves on that. I mean, at least once. Like, you know better than me. But the Xander thing, they completely botched that shit. Yes. The Yankees did with Judge to a lesser degree because he still signed. Yeah, but like they could have signed him for way cheaper. Yeah, they could have signed him for way cheaper if they just signed him the year fucking before. And it's like you guys are obsessed with. Oh, I forgot
because that's totally the one that like they obviously fucked Xander one like 100 different times, but the Devils one too. Like that's
and they could have paid him far less if they just They could have paid him far less if they just paid him the year fucking before. And these teams are obsessed with the luxury tax and the whatever the tax lines and this that, and saving money, and yet they just don't actually try and save money in some cases. It's kind of weird.
Jackson Chourio got paid. I don't think we talked about that. Obviously, what was this, like 80?
It was 8 for 80, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that the Brewers very much believe, and that's a perfect team. He's 19 now. They've got him for the next 8 years at $80 million, so he hits free agency when he's 27. That's perfect for the Brewers. You're not paying a guy deep into his 30s. You're getting what you project to be a star at $10 million a year. And if even for the Brewers, because they pretend, every team pretends they're a small market. None of them are. They wouldn't have teams if they were in small markets. That's how they decided to give out the teams, you understand. They don't have one in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Like, that wasn't an option. Yes. That wasn't how they fought. Bismarck, North Dakota was not on the list of places to give teams. That, because they're small market. Those are the real small markets. The rest of these fucking markets are not small. Milwaukee can afford more than $80. However, we know they're not going to operate like that. So when they make a move like this, you wonder why other teams don't have Jackson Chourio. So if you have a prospect that you like and you project to do things for your team, sign him right now. Buy 2 years.
It's such an easy practice and a largely low risk practice, and yet more people just don't do it. And we can't sit here and say the prospects wouldn't be receptive. We don't have any proof of that because people
No.
do it. Like, we don't have any proof of that, so we can't say, "Oh, well, that is the." There's no life jacket to throw these dudes on it. There's no excuse for it because on top of everything else here, with the way teams operate and how they operate with regard to PR, if these dudes were turning down millions and millions of dollars, oh, we would know about it, baby. They would tell us that every turn. Like, he go 0 for 4 in April. Like, yo, you remember when you turned down $70 million? You remember that shit? Like, we hear about it all the way through. So it ain't that. And they just don't, I don't get it. Like, you could end up saving yourself money down the road. I really don't get it. I don't.
Julio Rodriguez got a 12-year, $209 million contract. That could become like a $450 million contract.
That is
if
a
you have
wide range of incentives, baby. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it makes sense for everybody. You know what I mean? It's like if you just offered him 12 for 200, he's like, I'd rather stay poor the next 3 years.
Yes, pretty much.
No thanks.
Yeah.
I've been poor last year. Like, I know how to do this. Like, I'm okay. But yeah, if that's all they offered, it'd be like, yeah, fuck off. The fact that they were like, this is, if you're a bust, we need some, if you get hurt, even not even a bust, if you get hurt, we need some layer of protection. If you're an MVP 10 times, yeah, we'll give you $500 million, no problem. Like, that pays for itself. When that happened, I assumed we would start to see more of those, and there's just been none of it. And I understand there's not a lot of Julios out there. I'm not even saying that, but just things that are, hey, lowest, no one can project 15 years in the future. I don't care who you think you are. If things bottom out, this is what we'll gladly pay you, because at that point, over 10, 12 years, that's operational cost. That's nothing to us.
Yep.
$17 million will survive. If you're the best player of all time, you should be paid like that. No, like, that feels almost too fair, to the point where, of course, nobody's fucking doing it.
Yes, I was gonna say. I was like, you say it's really fair. That explains why it's not being done. Like, I'm not even asking these teams to be fair. That's the funniest part. Like, I'm not asking you to be fair. I'm saying, like, you probably work in your best interest if you sign prospects like that to longer deals and get them at reasonable cost. Because if they flame out, you're not killing yourself.
Right.
Like, you're not killing yourself. Like, if Colt Keith stinks, we'll forget about Colt Keith in no time. You know how I know this? Evan White exists. Evan White signed like a 7-year, $40-something million deal, and they were trying to get out in front of it. It colossally failed. Understood, and we don't care because he's not making shit. Like,
right.
He's not making nothing. It wasn't a massive risk for them to take. And if he ended up really good, you're getting him under market value. That's the point. And teams just don't do that shit enough.
No, it's insane. And especially when your team's not going to balance out not doing it, so when they're cheap, spending elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like, if the whole point is to keep them cheap, to keep the money open, you better be spending it elsewhere. And most teams just are not.
Right. They just want to keep them cheap just to do it. Like, they're not sinking their the rest of the investment into the rest of the players on the fucking team. They're just saying, all right, we're saving money because this really good guy is not signed long term for a long time. Okay, that's my money. Like, they're not putting it back into the fucking team. So
yeah, no, it's.
I think the Red Sox should trade Tristan Casas, though.
I'm all set with that. I wouldn't do that if I were the Red Sox. But you never know. They might attach him to Yoshida's $17 million just to get off the books. Like, you never fucking know what those crazy cats will do over there.
Maximize your return, damn it.
Jorge Polanco got traded to the Mariners. I think the Mariners, per the prospect rankings and all that, I think it was a slight overpay. But I like their lineup a lot more with Jorge Polanco in it.
I like a second baseman with some pop. So I like the deal for both sides. Because I mean, there's one person I care about that the Twins got, to be fair here. It's Gabriel Gonzalez. I think he could be a top 100 prospect soon. So I think they did well with that. The rest of them, decent return. Not here to knock it, not here to praise it. But Polanco is a good player. He does have durability issues, but I mean, a lot of people do. Like, I'm not here to
At
bang
what
on it.
point do we investigate the Twins? Because it's their whole team. That going back to Mauer and Morneau,
Fair,
like this isn't
fair,
a new thing. Like this is
fair.
not
They
new
have
with
durability,
the
and
Twins.
Buxton just
Right,
man.
Buxton, Lewis, Correa. Like it's not just
I mean,
Jorge
Correa
Polanco.
was kind of pre-existed, but point remains. Yeah, like Buxton is right there. Royce Lewis, Royce Lewis has two speeds. He tears the ACL and he mashes. Like there's no in between. Like
That's Buxton. Yeah, it's the same.
that too. right, right, right. But at least with Buxton, like the range of injuries is wide. Like Buxton can
Sure.
injure everything. Like at the same time. Like he can injure his whole body. Like Royce is like, all right, I'm back, baby, I'm back. 400, 540, 780 triple slash next day. Turn from an ACL. That's just what he does. I don't know.
Buxton's, I think, the guy people believe Anthony Davis is. Because Anthony Davis gets hurt every single game, but he'll play every single game. And as some Tyler pointed out to me a long time ago, he'll go down and the worst heap of an injury you've ever seen, and then he'll be back for the fourth quarter. Buxton, he's played 100 games once, and it was 2017. Um, he hasn't, like, last 2 years, he's played 85, 92. He's electric when he's on the field. Like, he's absolutely as talented a player as there is in baseball. Like, I genuinely believe he's as good as anybody else in the league. You gotta play more than 92 games. Like that's his season high outside of the 140 year season. Everything else is 28, 87, 39, 61, 92, 85. Like that's it. That's all he's got.
It's such a disappointment that he can't stay on the field.
Yeah, this is someone I would consider a disappointment for sure. And it's, again, not even his fault, but definitely a disappointment.
Not his fault at all, but his body just will not cooperate.
No, and this is a guy, he also debuted when he was 21, 576, 714, 728, 383. This is much more in line with what a disappointment looks like to me. Much more in line.
That poor guy.
It is. I mean, I'm glad he got paid. Because that was sick for him. I didn't think he was going to get paid, again, due to the injuries, but Twins paid him. I'm very happy.
He was at whatever their fan fest is called, and he's like, "Man, I'm back in center field this year, baby." And I hate that my first thought was,
Yikes.
"Yeah, but for how long? How long?
Should you maybe move to the corner?"
Like, I don't think him playing anywhere is going to stop the injury flow.
No,
he's just that guy. He's going to get hurt. Now, he is reckless. Like that's the thing that's kind of understated with Buxton. Like he's injury prone, yes. He also does not care about his own safety either. Like he will run through a wall to make a catch. He will face plant to make. He doesn't care. And that's part of what makes him fun, and also part of what keeps him off the field. So stop. Even though last year he played like 90 games, he was a DH the entire year. So that kind of throws a whole wrench into that. But
yeah, he played 80 last year.
He DH'd the whole year. So
I know he didn't, because he came to Fenway early in the season, and he did DH, but he did play other positions too. Oh no, back on Polanco's. Hold on, back on Polanco's page.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did DH the whole year. Okay, so I'm just misremembering that game incorrectly.
He DH the whole year. And he played half of it. That's insane. But yes,
he was playing in Fenway. It had to have been April because I know it was super early because I was excited he was playing. Hadn't got hurt yet. He slid into second in a way like someone that athletic I've never seen slide that poorly, and he had to leave the game. And I was just like, dude, what? Like, I thought he was done for the season. That's how weird of a fall it was. And that's what I mean with Anthony Davis.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, his body just like crumpled weird. And I was like, that wasn't even a weird play. I don't know what.
Yeah, happened. I remember that. I remember getting the notification like Byron Buxton day to day. I'm like, oh fuck again? Like, oh my god. And then they showed the replay. I'm like, oh Lord. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it sucks. But I like the trade for the Mariners. I kind of like really everything the Mariners did this year, and a lot of it was nothing. Like not trading any of their pitchers, and there's still off season left, but they traded Robbie Ray because they were finally just like, why would we trade one of the young guys everyone keeps calling us for? Clearly, clearly they're good. Does anyone want this guy? We agree we need space. Does anyone want this guy we're paying a lot of money to kind of stink? Like, yeah,
The,
well, we'll
the
trade him,
Mariners
no
have done a
problem.
really good job with their staff. Like really good job developing their guys. Obviously, some of them are kind of unfinished products, so we'll see what they end up being. But like Gilbert's good.
I
Has
love watching.
I think Kirby has like best pitcher in the league potential. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I say that. I think he's a star in the making. And like I like the guys like Brian Wu and Bryce Miller, and we'll see what happens with them. Like, hey man, if they figure out how to get some hitters, and I mean they're trying, give them that. They're trying to acquire some hitters. They've done a good job acquiring hitters at a reasonable cost. So it's like Haniger is a nice major league hitter. They didn't really give much to get him. Jorge Polanco, same thing. Didn't really give much to get him. So they're trying. I give them credit for that at least. So we'll see what happens with it.
And it's kind of like how they got J.P. Crawford. Like that was just someone the Phillies didn't necessarily want anymore or have
Yeah.
space for. So they were like, "Does anyone want him?" The Mariners were like, "Sure." I like the strategy of they go out and they just get guys that are major leaguers. I think raising your floor is a good way to just get back to that
Especially when you have
conversation.
those kind of pitchers. So like,
Sure,
yeah.
and Julio, like you
Yes.
don't just punt on a guy like that at the beginning of any point of his career. I would argue.
Mm-hmm.
And when they have a time to like really strike, like for Luis Castillo, even if they paid a heavy price, like I don't think they regret that, even with Castillo's year last year being shaky.
They shouldn't regret it, but man, I'd like to see what Noelvi would look like in that lineup right now. They shouldn't regret it, and that's a trade you make. I get it because I can't be the guy who tells you go try and win, go make trades to win, and then be mad when you pay what is an ace price for an ace. Well, that's what they paid,
Right.
and it was an ace price for an ace who had multiple years of team control left. Like it was always a fair trade. It was just one that it hurt. Like they paid a big price as they should have.
Even last year, as shaky as it was, he finished with 14-9, 3.34, 197 innings pitched, like 33 starts.
And you can set your clock to it. Like he doesn't really get hurt, does
Yeah.
he? I don't, or if he
No,
does, I don't recall. I don't think he gets hurt
no,
much. Yeah, so like you know
no.
exactly. You can set your clock to what you're getting from that dude. Like you pay for that.
Yeah,
Now
18.
if they were at the point in their pitching development, then they as they are now, do I think they do that trade? I don't think so. But they did it. They were in the thick of a playoff race. They did it. They made the playoffs. They beat the fuck out of the Blue Jays. So it worked out.
I still think you do it even as you're developing nice young pitchers because it just gives you so many more
Well, I
options.
think you
Like,
should do it. I don't know if they would. I think you for
yeah,
sure.
sure.
Like if you have a chance to trade for Luis Castillo reasonably, and you don't have like an elite pitching staff, you should do it. But I don't know if they do. I don't know if they would do it at that point. If you have 4 or 5 controlled arms, you feel great about. But I don't think you do it. You just like, all right, we can stick with them. We could develop those guys, and then we could develop the hitters that we would have to give up to get Castillo in the first place and go from there. I think they would probably opt for that. But they traded for him. He's been great for them. Like
Yeah.
he struggled in the playoffs last year. That was tough, but he's been great for them. He's signed for like 20 million a year, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have him under a great deal. It's a win-win.
25, but yeah,
25. Okay, yeah, it's a win-win.
which is still great. I mean, you see Sonny Gray's getting that. You see Eddie Rodriguez is getting 5 million less than that.
Yeah,
Like, you should be paying Luis Castillo 12 million more dollars a year than Eduardo Rodriguez. You know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah.
absolutely a guy. And now they sit in this position where if they want to trade one of their pitchers, they can get more than they gave up for Castillo, as high as I am on Marte.
I think that's fair, but it depends on which pitcher. I think if you for some reason if you decide to trade Gilbert, I think you're looking at something close at minimum to what they gave for Luis.
I think they've been getting calls about Wu and like non-Kirby
Yeah.
Gilbert guys. I think they've been getting calls about everyone else and have been turning down like they would be overpays, but I understand where they're coming from. They're like, we're in a position of strength right now. There's two teams that get brought up when a team needs a pitcher. It's them and the Marlins. So I get why they'd be like, yeah, no, we know there's one other team in town and they just hired a new GM. Like they don't know what they got, so they're probably hesitant to make a move. We know what we got. Why would we just give someone away unless you're paying what we paid for a pitcher? We set the market. We know what it costs to get a guy.
They did. And I'm
So
glad they did it, because New Orleans, Cincinnati is going to be fun too. Assuming
for sure.
he's as good as we think he's going to be. Like, he's going to be. He already came up last year, but was really good when he came up. So he's going to be really fun in Cincinnati. So everybody wins. It's a great trade. It's a win-win. Everybody wins.
Noelle played more than he played 35 games. He put up a 120 OPS plus, like just ready to go. So that's Cincinnati. If they ever get one of these pitchers people keep talking about, they're going to be quite a team.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Or if Abbott takes a leap, which is possible.
Possible, no doubt.
I'm not keen on the fly ball pitcher in that park taking a leap, but stranger things have happened.
Is that Green?
No, Abbott.
Oh, I thought you were talking about someone else, because Hunter obviously.
Oh, I mean Hunter. Hunter's one of those you just bet on the physical talent and be done with it, because I mean the guy's fucking pumping up 103 casually every game. So like you're just like, all right, man, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to be the one to sit here and tell you, yeah, he's going to be a bust. I don't fucking know. Like, I'm not going to bet against somebody who throws a ball like that.
No, he's
he does shit you cannot teach.
He's
like, period. You can't
genuinely
teach that kind of shit. Yes, he is. Like, I would not want to be in the box against him at all.
No.
Yeah, Green, but they have Abbott, and they have a couple in the pipeline. They have this Rhett Lauder guy, and they have somebody else, I believe. So the Reds,
I mean, their whole.
Oh yeah, they have Lodolo too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The rest of their staff is all like 25 and younger. So like they.
At some point, there's going to be a massive breakout there. Just the whole team is just going to have like their year, and they like win 100 games and shock everybody. I think that's coming.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's going to turn. Like it might just be a one and done in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, playoffs is the playoffs, but
for sure,
different ball game. Hopefully, it's not. They don't go out as sad as the Orioles did, but
That's just because they're not in the division. We don't care.
Correct.
But yeah, that was an exciting and exhilarating Vlad Guerrero Jr. I can't wait till he's a free agent next year. Now, the next year or the year after?
I think it's the year after.
Maybe the year after.
I think. Because they did that.
It's coming up.
And one more thing before we get out of here, I'm very happy we MLB put in these rules about if you get Rookie of the Year, you get a draft pick, this, that, and third. So we don't have to hear shit like, remember Vlad when he was slated to come up, and they were like, oh, we have to keep it down to the minors to work on his defense. Now, granted, one could say, hey, it worked, right? Allegedly. Because he won a Gold Glove, sure, but that's not why the fuck you kept him down there. So I don't miss the service time games, but yeah, man, it's a good episode.
Yeah, he's a free agent after next season, entering his age 27, so he'll get a crisp.
I can't wait to get on the show and beg for the Yankees to sign him after this episode. It's great.
Without a doubt, that's what's going to happen.
Nah, we got Ben Rights. We straight, baby.
I'll never know who that is. I'm trying to think of what he'll get. 380? I think 380 is my guess.
Far less than that.
Far less?
Far less.
All right.
I think it's like 280, probably. 300, maybe.
We'll see.
We will.
See everyone not next week. I'll be in Vegas at the Super Bowl, so see everyone in 2 weeks.
Just come back alive, mate. Please.
Everything is going to happen over the next 2 weeks.
Be prepared.
Guarantee it.
Be prepared. And just come back alive. I know how you get down. Come back alive.
I'm only in Vegas for like 2 days and then go to Arizona from there.
Mick, 2
So
days? For you? That's a lot of time.
that's a lot of work. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to Disney this weekend with my kids, so I'm going to be exhausted.
You keep saying these things as if that any of this is going to stop you.
I'm going to be the sleepiest boy in Las Vegas. They've never seen a sleepier boy. I promise you.
Fair.